crazy, crazy chaps with us. So 2 seconds, and I will bring them all in. Here they come.
Oh, fuck. As he presses the button.
It's like magic.
It's 2 of me. This is the best show ever.
What?
Oh, wow.
There you go.
Oh, come on.
He's back. He's back. And
It was almost as if I did it on purpose. So I was like, dude.
As he just wipes the chocolate off his face.
And there goes everybody that was watching.
Oh, great. Okay, so the usual thing. If you guys knew the things that have just happened in the last 20 minutes, you would laugh your ass off. There's a
I
reason
think
why
the
we're
Bristol host not really working properly. As soon as I joined, it kept saying Bristol host.
Yeah, it's like Bristol's host. Yeah, no, we're
Twitch being twitchy.
Try to unhost again in chat just to make sure.
Please tell me it's live, because I can see me.
Live, but
I
don't know if it's going through when people join every time for some reason.
Just tell everyone to refresh all the time. Yeah. Refresh
For an hour.
I could do unhost.
Yeah, just try to type unhost just in case.
And I can do.
Should put it out then.
Refresh.
Host yourself.
Chat.
Host yourself. See if that helps.
Nah. Can you just type unhost in chat, please?
Twitch being twitchy.
It just did.
We were trying to do this like really smooth, so we'd have like a really great start to YouTube. No editing, no trimming. It was perfect. And it's gone already. Tits up.
It's Bio's fault.
Yeah, just blame me. Blame the tour guide.
I'm already get a drink already. So yeah. Okay, here we go.
Are you drinking water, Miz?
It's vodka.
He's
Okay.
Miz is prepping himself because he's got a busy week ahead of him going to CitizenCon. So
I have. Yeah.
he's going to be heavy drinking with Mac and the boys.
I should really
coming up.
get back into
Am
drinking.
I not
that
one
much,
of those
actually.
boys, Madness?
You are one of the boys.
I was going to say, you're going, aren't you, so as well?
Yeah. I'm leaving Thursday evening.
He's so excited. Look at him.
I thought you was going
Picture of
early.
excitement.
Yeah, but I could buy a flight now and would be more expensive than going Thursday evening, basically.
Oh, okay.
Well, on that
I'm a bit
note,
of a cheapskate.
as we're talking about what people are doing, so let's just roll into it. And I don't know if you all noticed, but we actually have a really tiny person for some reason on my screen. So just bear with me whilst I adjust the proportions on Bio. He's like shrunk.
His absence.
Hello, Bio. We'll bring you up. We'll bring you up to a sensible size.
Just,
Give
I'm
me a
going to
second.
write the theme tunes. Sing the theme tune. Be in the theme tune.
Dumpa-dee-day.
Listen, Madness, if you go to settings, there's an option to turn off size to penis option.
Let's bring you.
The garden
This is
gnome.
where Soul disappears again as well.
Just need a fishing rod.
There we go, Bio. Up to size now.
Oh,
A bit bigger.
I'm
not
bigger
as
now.
big- Not as big as me, of course.
This is like
but
one of your
still bigger.
first addicted shirts.
you can blame it all on me. That's fine. That's fine.
What were you saying? Okay, so anyway, so this week, okay, so Miz, go on in, go ahead. Actually, I have to slightly rib you, but you tell me about your week, and just there will be a slight dig coming in a second. But carry
Oh, I
on.
know where it's. I already know where it's coming from because you guys are so salty. It makes me laugh.
So
I love
jealous.
it.
Carry on. Go for it.
Absolutely love it.
Just
So this week I haven't done.
Can I just say something before Miz starts? Bio,
I haven't even started.
Yes.
are you drinking water?
Yes.
He's drinking vodka.
Fuck that shit. Go get some fucking alcohol. Come on.
I can't. I cannot pop to the shop because my son's already asleep in bed.
Oh.
Listen, tie him to the bed. No, that's a bit wrong, maybe.
Yeah,
If I
that's
live nearby,
very.
if I live nearby,
Just as good as shave the children.
I could just. It's almost as good as shave the children. Okay, anyway, enough interruptions. Sorry, Miz. So,
So I'll start again.
You start again.
So this week, I've been helping Mac quite a lot with setting up his stream because he's going to do a charity stream basically. Well, he's been doing charity streams, but a few of us applied for the casting for CitizenCon to get your face into the game. I didn't get it. They didn't want this ugly mug. Can you believe that? But there we go.
I didn't get it either, dude, because
people that paid enough money under the table got in, obviously, and they got their face scanned. So to do that, they have to have to be fully shaved. So Gamble and Mac both got in, and long story short, basically they're going to shave their beard for the event, and while they're doing that in the process, they're going to make some money for charity. So we're going to live stream it. So far, they've made $530, something like that, out of 2,000. So it's gone pretty good. We've had 2 streams so far, or 2 or 3. And then when we get to CitizenCon, we're going to have the live streaming of the shaving of the beards.
Woohoo.
And there's going to be some giveaways and things like that as well, that have been donated by the community, because this community is awesome. So I will try and get a link in chat at some point, maybe towards the end of the show. At the end, we'll wrap it up if anybody wishes to donate to the charity for Child's Play. So yeah, that's a worthy cause. So they've been doing that. I've been getting ready for CitizenCon. I'm kind of not really there as usual. Let's leave everything to the last minute.
When are you flying? When's the flights? When are you both?
So I'm driving down to London on Wednesday, staying in the hotel with Mac overnight, and then we've got.
Come and say hi.
You're sharing a bed. Is that what it is?
Come and say hi, boys. I'll come over and say hi. Where are you staying?
The Ibis at Heathrow.
Oh, that's quite far away.
So you'd be on the side of London.
40 minutes in the car.
You're probably the other side, aren't you?
No, I'm about 40 minutes drive, but I couldn't really drive there, get wrecked, and then drive back again.
No, not really. So yeah, and I think I streamed. I can't even remember what day it is now. Friday, I streamed. I did the no, I didn't do a multi-stream because Bok didn't stream. I streamed with Bok. Bok and a couple of other people jumped on, and we did some Warframe. That was good fun.
Yeah, I watched that.
So yeah, enjoyed that. It was like basically none of us knew what the hell we were doing. But it's I've played it for like years, but on and off, so everything's new every time you go back in it. But that was good fun, and yeah, I think that was. Oh, and I streamed with Mac again this morning to do another charity drive thing. We were just chatting and discussing our plans for CitizenCon, basically. So yeah, that was my time. So, do you want to rib me now, or do you want to go around first?
No. I was just. How did you find standing in front of a screen talking? It's pretty much like this, right? It's good, yeah. Yeah,
it's pretty much
natural.
Exactly like this. I'm used to it. I'm good at it. Yeah,
it's pretty natural, yeah.
Fine, yeah.
Just with a much bigger audience.
Much bigger audience. Yeah.
Did you go on camps for you? Is that what you've done?
About 10 times the size of this audience.
About 10 times the size at the moment, for sure. Yeah. You wait. We'll be huge. Maybe.
With intros like that, well, most certainly.
It will be massive.
Bio is here today, and the numbers have dropped.
So Bio. As we're going clockwise. We're going clockwise around.
Because we're late to just start the tour guide. That's what it is.
Everyone's
fucking want a refund. What?
Nice to have you back, Bio.
Yeah, thank you.
It's been busy.
It's nice to be back.
Busy man with your work and kid and all this stuff. So it's great to have you back on the show.
A bit of German.
A bit of German. How are you doing?
Even last week, I
tying up the German.
Give the guy a break. How's it going?
Yeah, it's been going good. I'm glad to be starting streaming again.
Woohoo!
It's nice to be back. Nice to get people in the channel again. It's just nice to get back on my feet, really, with streaming. My computer's I've sorted everything out with my computer, so I'm glad on that front.
It magically started working again.
Wow.
So what the fuck are you doing with your hair? Can you put a hat on or something? Or shave your head? Are you doing this for charity?
Just cut your head off.
It's a wig. It looks like freaking ginger pubes.
It looks like a freaking wig.
Stuck all over the top of your head.
Jesus
Christ.
I'm hoping that,
that retracting hairline.
It's like an octopus, ginger octopus's thing. What the hell?
Hopefully I'll be able to finish without him trolling too much.
I'm gonna hang on. I'm just gonna. Do you know what I'm gonna do? It's easy.
Mute him. Yeah.
That's probably easiest. Mute him, let Bio speak. Right, go for it.
And then also I'm getting ready for CitizenCon.
Yeah.
First time going abroad as well, so it's gonna be crazy.
Oh,
I'm
really?
shitting myself. First time on a
Where are you
on a
flying
plane. Southampton.
I was closer to you, isn't it?
Yeah, it works out. I worked it out. If I would have travelled here to London, it would have been 4 hours on the coach, and it would have worked out a little bit cheaper just to go in an hour and a half. So yeah, I'm going from Southampton. But yeah,
What day are you flying?
I'm going on Wednesday.
Oh, okay, cool.
And then I've been staying at someone's. I'm not gonna...
That was a long pause. Staying.
Yeah, because I'm just waiting for someone to say something. I didn't want to say.
Muted, so he can't.
That's good. And then I'll be there till the 1st, and then I'm coming back, and then I'm gonna do a follow-up stream as well on that as well. So I'm looking forward to it all.
Excellent.
It's kind of good to be back on here as well and see you guys, you ugly mugs.
Yeah, legitimately, it's good to have you back, man. Because I know you've been really busy, so it's good to have you back. I know. There was no difference to the document this week. It felt exactly as if you were always here. But I mean, generally, it was good to have you back on the stream, contributing with that handsome face of yours, making me look even less handsome. It's good stuff. Great, legitimately, really happy you're here. We need the numbers. Soul at the moment. What the? Honestly, I feel like I should just bypass this. He's obviously the 6th beetle, the ginger beetle that never made it.
Oh fucking hell!
I think, as someone may have said, I think he's on the wrong meds.
I was mad, but I think we need to change the names around. Soul, what have you been up to, buddy? Do you want to? Oh, actually, I know what you've been up to because you've been up to some pretty sweet stuff. Do you want me to bring it up? Soul? Hello?
He's just... Fuck you, bypass him then. It's alright.
I can't hear you, Soul.
He's not talking, so just...
he is talking.
He's not. He's trolling you, for God's sake.
It's been a good week, man. I've been busy with fucking work. Yeah.
You don't know a troll when you see him.
Let me bring it up. Let me bring it up. So let me bring up what you've been working on. Here you go.
I had to go to the Home Depot to pick up some rope so Bayo could tie up that German girl on next week. You know.
He's really not happy to see me.
I'm happy to see you, man. I'm just not kissing your ass like Madness is. That's just something that
it's all about kissing people's asses, dude. That's what life is. Like you have to kiss ass. It's normal. So you've been busy like doing your soul.create stuff, right? So doing your brand and your company.
We did some great work for
bring it on.
For Buck, which I hope he's happy with.
So there it is on the stream. So this is what you've been working on. So you've been doing his complete logo and layout page for Twitch.
We did a logo. We did his social media. We did his banners. We did his sliding screens. So I'm still working on his overlay.
Yeah. It's pretty sweet. So it's a goat, right? He's known as the goat. Is that correct?
The Buck, yeah, the Buck.
The goat.
Basically,
he's known as the goat.
Which is basically
greatest of all time.
The greatest of all time, indeed. Yeah. Oh, that's me. Yeah. So definitely go check Bugbeard out. He's a great streamer of the space sims and the survival games. So definitely go and check Bug out.
Brilliant.
Great guy overall. Dutch guy as well.
Mm-hmm.
I should sit a bit further away. I'm a bit close to the screen. Yeah, my hair. I'm not gonna shave it off. I donated some money to the good cause today. What I could spare. So everyone in chat, definitely go check Mac and Gamble and everyone out. Them doing such a thing for a good cause. It's definitely something good, you know, and that just describes our community, the Star Citizen community in a whole. So definitely go and check that out.
Well, the fact that they're doing a charity stream.
Yeah. I think it's a great thing, you know, and I think the whole community is a bit like that. I was talking to you guys earlier, you know, that I sold all my racing gear because I think the community is very, very toxic, and makes you appreciate the Star Citizen community, you know, because it's just such a great bunch of people.
That's very touching of you, Soul. I got a bit of a tear welling up right now. So I'm quite moved. If I had music right now, I should put that music on there. It was beautiful.
Oh, Batman! yourself.
So what I've been doing is streaming Star Citizen. I mean, I've been struggling to find a new game to play, to be honest. I mean, and then I forgot. Yeah, I'm kind of done with PUBG at the moment. And then I kind of got into, suddenly realized that, guess what's happening? Tomorrow, Destiny 2. Woo, finally on the PC. Oh,
Microtransactions.
So excited.
Can't wait to buy those loot crates.
Oh, yes, all those wonderful loot crates that will be for shaders. That's the only microtransaction as far as I'm aware. And there's probably a few others for like dance moves and shit still from the previous one. But so I'm excited about playing Destiny 2 this week and getting a little something else to play for a bit. But I still love Star Citizen. We'll always love Star Citizen.
Play Destiny 2 in like solo, or is it only as a group?
No, it's Destiny. You can play Destiny as solo, so you have solo campaign missions. You have multiplayer strikes, so you can go as a team of 3. You get raids, so you go as a team of 6. You've got PvP combat. It literally takes a massive cleaving steamer on top of Star Marine in terms of quality. So, honestly, it will
Star Marine. Not a full game. Destiny, full game.
You can't really compare it to Star Wars.
And Destiny 2, the Q's in the name, they've actually made one. Got some practice and now they're making a second.
I'm just saying, it's a better FPS game. That's all I'm saying. For the content, whether it's one is not ready yet or one isn't, it doesn't matter. The fact
Anybody
is,
got Soul
which one am I
Shaker?
going to play? I'm going to play Destiny 2 because it's going to be good. So I'm
It's
excited
trying
about
to
that.
compare a turret. It's trying to compare a turret with a fucking Ferrari. You know what I mean?
Fair enough. Moving on. I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be great. I'm looking forward to that. But I've been having a great time streaming Star Citizen, to be honest. Like, we're talking about a great community. The fact that there's hardly anybody of the main streamers sucking up all the viewers, it just means that people like me can actually get people to watch me, which is great. So I've been enjoying it, making the most of it, getting people to come and hang out, watch my stream. And like I said, did you guys see the Suck It from last week? Did we see the Suck It last week? Because if you haven't seen a Suck It, I'm going to bring it up on stream right now. So this was a moment with Jester. Jester loved it. He was so happy when this happened. And it's basically what I love about this, about streaming and stuff, is summed up in this. It creates the most amazing new features. So I'm just going to bring it up on stream right now. So here we go, sharing it with you guys. If you haven't seen this, this was awesome. This was against Jester.
Folks that have seen it.
Didn't realise. Bring it in. Oh! Did you see that? Suck it, baby! Oh, it was so good. And anyway, so basically, what happened from that was the music came in.
It has to take these rare.
And then we did it twice.
When you kill someone.
These rare moments, and we did it twice, and we created an emote, and we've created a whole sound thing about it, and it's just going crazy. It's fantastic. I love it. It's brilliant. This is what I love about streaming, is these moments that you can kind of do and share, which usually involves kind of like, destroying somebody else, which is what I love. So very, very happy with that. And yes, Star Citizen rock still. Honestly, it was so good. I had loads of people in. We had such a laugh with Jester. And you just, like, people say there's not much to do, and it's not true. In 2.6, 2.5 and 2.6, the dogfighting side of this game is very good and is very, very enjoyable and very repetitive.
No,
I'm just saying, it is genuinely really, really good. I've really enjoyed it, and I'm really not looking forward to 3.0. It's open world, less dogfighting, small server counts of people, same server counts, much more open space, more exploration side.
It's going to be harder to find people, isn't it?
It's going to be hard to find people. It's going to be hard to engage that. I'm going to have to ring my mates up and be like, hey guys, shall we go meet at Squadron 2324 or whatever?
I'll dogfight with you again, man.
Of course, you're more than welcome to.
I've improved.
Yes, for sure.
Still got a dry joystick.
Oh, that sounds good. Go to the doctor about that. Got a dry joystick.
Can you hear that? That's how dry it is.
Need a bit of lube for that, man.
Like, the X56 is a good joystick, but it dries out very quickly. Very, very quickly.
I can smell L-Bomb's ego halfway across the solar system. It's so big. I know. We can, to be honest, we can barely fit on this panel. His head is like pushes us to one side. We should all be just like shrunk in the corner of our screens.
I can make that happen, guys.
Soldier's gone.
We can make it happen.
Oh no, he's back.
So yeah, but no, honestly, like I said, if anyone says there's not much to do, there is loads to do still in this game in terms of the PvP and the combat side of things that you can do. It's great fun. Really enjoy it.
There's that's false advertising. It's not lots to do.
There
It's
is
not you're
lots to
doing
do.
the same
Just
thing over and
dogfighting.
over again against different people.
Yes,
So you're
it's loads
enjoying
to
it,
do.
which is fine. And if you like that, that's fine. But I wouldn't class that as lot to do. Like there's not lots to
loads
do
of
with
different
it.
people to kill,
There's
different
lots
types
to
of
do.
people to
You
kill.
can shoot your guns and pew pew until someone blows up. There's lots to do.
Loads to do.
So how can there be
Because,
lots to do in
Madness has a
2.6? But
special
not,
version
otherwise you
of
could
the
argue
game that
there's
is
lots
called
to do.
2.7.
No, I know. I hear. Okay, look, if you want to kind of get, like, at the end of the day, combat is combat. It will always be predominantly ping, ping, pew, pew. So the 20% of the game is good at the moment, or whether 10% of the game is pretty good. It's not okay. I'm trying to be positive here. If you want me to bring the salt, I can bring the salt. It's absolutely fine. But I'm just saying, I'm not looking forward to 3.0 from 2.6 to 3.0 because of that. Because of that, they're going to make it, basically we're going to have what is already quite a boring and limited amount of content to play, and then they're taking the one thing that you can
You just
repeat
said
over
it
and over
wasn't
again.
It's some boring content.
No, but the other side of things. I mean, the combat is fun. The combat's fun. Stop trying to put words in my head and confuse me.
What did we tell you about those drugs?
What you're trying to say is
What did we tell
there's
you?
still opportunity to have fun depending on what you want to do.
Yes, thank
basically.
you. Yeah, that's kind of.
That's what it boils down to.
If you
But
just want a dogfight,
if you just want to
want a
dogfight,
dogfight, you just play 2.6 for the upcoming 10 years. You'll be fine. You'll be fine. It's enough, you know what I mean? You can pew pew all day.
Okay, fine. Right. So yes, shall we move on beyond me looking like a fool?
We need to make a meme of you.
Make a meme. It can happen. I'm sure it can happen. So this week,
It doesn't make sense. Have you used drugs, my son? I'm not the only one thinking it, to be honest.
honestly, you guys, this happened. This happened on the. This happened this week. Boom.
yeah.
a brochure. It did. Well, that's not your version of it, though, is it?
No, my one was covered in cash. My one was covered in cash.
I saw that. Jesus.
So it's an interesting thing, yeah, and I'll look at it, yeah, and I think that thing on the back there with the two antennas is a bridge.
Good. That's very intuitive. That you would think that would be the bridge area.
What do you guys think this is going to be?
Well, this
The
is why
game
we're having this
changer.
conversation.
This is the
so
pioneer.
This is the
It's-
whole point. So go for it. Go
I think it's going to be
That's not what I
the.
wanted to kick it off. You were a bit
Yep.
slow.
Bio can start. Go for it.
I think it's going to. If you're wondering what ship it's going to be, I think it's going to be the ship that can let you carry the outposts and drop them off
Okay.
for future.
That's a good-
So it means you can actually go to a planet and moon and drop off your own kind of little house, or you can do it. It's going to be supporting for orgs as well, for org bases and headquarters and that kind of thing. It's a civilization ship.
You hope.
colonization thing, you think?
Yeah, because I can't even say that word, but yes.
So I
Well,
looked at this guide, yeah.
So, did you want to answer what it is?
What I can see is you see this saber shade or whatever it is. Is it a shade or a ship?
Shadow, yeah.
It is a saber.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did they do that on purpose to show you a little bit of the size, or that's what I was thinking? And if it is to show you the size, it's not too much bigger as a saber. If you look at this, then it would be Retaliator's size-ish. You know what I mean? So I'm like in the dubio. I hope it's going to be a big ship. I think it's going to be a bigger ship. I wonder why they put that saber there. That's something I've been really thinking about. You know.
Okay.
I hope it's a bigger size. You know.
I
that would be,
personally, I'm like the pictures. You know, if I was looking at the proportions of this all, it's all wrong in terms of like the scale of that saber, the way the saber's flying in, the angle that they've just chucked in this black silhouette.
Yeah, it's
you know,
weird.
This
Really
doesn't look. This is not part of this picture. This is literally just being plonked on top of this background picture. There was something else here, I think, behind this originally, and they've just done something and stuck this great big black silhouette on top of it. This is not part of this picture at all. So, or the ship is actually part of this picture, and then they've just blacked it out and grayed it and made a silhouette of it, and it's the coloring. Because if you look here on the corner, I don't know if you can see on my mouse. Oh, I've disabled the mouse. What an idiot! On the bottom left, see the bottom left thrusters. There's two in the middle underneath the question mark on the left hand side. It looks like there's kind of a light black bit behind it. It looks like maybe there's a picture behind this picture. So they'll obviously remove this black out, and then it will show you the full picture of the exploration ship.
I don't know what to think, especially with a price tag of $850. You know what I mean? That's a big boy.
I personally think
that is thingy size, right? How much was the Polaris? Was 850 as well, right?
750, I think it was.
750. Yeah. So you expect it to be bigger than a Polaris,
maybe not. You know? Maybe not. Maybe it's just more price because of what it's going to do. That's what.
Let's face it. The 600i was like expensive for what it was.
I think it's a floating strip club. Maybe is that what we're going to see here?
No, I thought that it could potentially be either a big, massive refining ship. Or I thought if it was to be a game changer, it would be a shipbuilding ship, which would be pretty cool. Because I know they've said they won't do this. Is what they've said, they won't do that. They won't enable you to build ships. But when I saw the front of this kind of weird shape that looks like kind of sticking out the nose here, I was like, that runs over the front of it. I don't know if you can see it, but if you look at the way it kind of looks really straight, and then there's suddenly right at the very end, just towards the end of it, there's kind of this weird, looks like a ship that's sat on top of it. Looks like the kind of fins of the back of a ship, and I thought maybe it could possibly be a shipbuilding ship as well as also a refining ship. So for refining minerals, ores, whatever, and it just is basically a building ship. So it builds everything from spaceships to what Bio was saying, colonization ships to colonizing parts, whatever. It could be just that type of thing possibly. So. It's definitely a building ship. I'm definitely going to go with it build stuff, that's for sure. That's my safe bet.
Yeah, it kind of looks like, just because of that, when I first saw it, it kind of reminds me a bit of the Caterpillar with the length of it and the shape of it a bit, but yeah.
I think a lot of people thought that, but I think it's just literally because it's flat and...
Looks like an oyster.
Looks like an oyster. Miz, your thoughts on it?
I think it's going to be more of a... I think it's going to be probably to do with building outposts, but I don't know. I mean, there's got to be... Because those outposts, like, we've already been said that this game is obviously going to be more realistic. So, like in games like Osiris and things like that, you just build like a frame or a wall, and it's in your backpack, and then you just put it down and create your base, whereas you're not going to be able to do that in Star Citizen. You will need to have some way of making these outposts or moving them or whatever, or making them happen. You're not going to be able to just sit there and press a button and create an outpost and then just plonk the whole thing down, because that's not how Star Citizen works. So I'm thinking it's going to be something along those lines.
Yeah.
I don't think we have any information at all other than it's...
No, we just got the picture. I mean, yeah, I think it's best guess. I mean, they did, Ben talked about it being obviously an industrial civilian type of ship. So we know kind of roughly what it's going to be, but I mean, it's the best guess. I think, would be, an industrial manufacturing ship of some kind. The scale of it though is interesting. Like you were saying, Saul, about, the saber in the reference picture and stuff.
They have these weird trickery things lately. We've seen it with the, that stealth fighter where they try to trick us with things, and I have the idea it's there with a reason, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I don't know, man. And then the name Pioneer. What is a Pioneer IRL, you know what I mean? It's like, it's so controversial and opposite-sided, you know what I mean?
What do you mean?
Well, a pioneer is something that explores, right? That an explorer type of thing. That's a pioneer, right? It's like, I don't know.
Pioneer is more of someone that goes first and settles.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. That's a good.
Okay, I'll
describing it.
Yeah, and then
Good.
so if I Google it. Right, so pioneer, the definition of pioneer in the dictionary: a person who is among those who first enter or settle a region, thus opening it up for occupation and development by others.
So seeking out new places, basically.
So basically going to new planets.
Like gynecologists.
Boldly going where no one has gone before.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Yeah, it's linked to base, I think. Base building ship, basically. As Nexus says, it's possible that it's a base itself, but I wouldn't say that was changing. Well, I suppose it could be the base itself,
base.
but
The hair has
But
transformed.
isn't any of the big capital ships that anyway, to a certain degree? If you can land other ships onto a
Pretty
ship,
much.
then other ships are a base. They're a mobile base. Whereas if this actually, that's my guess, that it's something that puts the bases down.
Maybe it's like an open carrier, you know, where you can land on top of it. Like carrier ships at the moment. No, I'm being serious.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I hope it's
a joke.
something more than that, because that's boring as fuck.
I know.
If it's just a fucking plane carrier, that's boring. No, they've built up far too much hype for something if it's just something like that.
Aye.
Right.
But you know what you were saying with the scale of the image, it could just be that the image of the ship's in the distance behind it, and it's just put that over the top just to kind of show just a rough
I don't think so.
outline of it.
Honestly, I think the picture is literally that underneath that is the real picture, and they're just doing it for now.
Yeah.
And then when the guys go to CitizenCon or whatever, they're going to be given the real. You know, they're going to give them the
real
real
look.
We'll get the
printout,
real picture,
and it'll be
yeah,
there.
we'll have the real picture at
So
Gamescom.
The ones underneath it and stuff, I think, are the real deal. So the scale is obviously whatever it is they want us to see. I'm sure there's just a bit of artistic kind of flair in there, really, to be honest. So this is just a bigger picture of it, and a more high res picture of it. So to see if there's any kind of standout features or things that kind of make sense that maybe add any more clarity to it. You can kind of see a bit more of what I was saying about the
Thrusters
nose.
facing downwards.
Yeah. Obviously, it's to land, so it's going to land on planets. So it's a capital ship that's going to land on planets, which we know. Is this the only capital ship? No, that's not true. Sorry, the Javelin.
No.
Was it the
Javelin can't.
Not the Javelin. What was the other
Idris.
one? The Idris. The Idris can though, can't it? Because we saw that at the Gamescom.
Yeah, like
until they get back to evaluating all the ships and that, I don't think we're going to be 100% sure which ones can land and can't land, because they may change that thought process, especially with how big some of these planets and moons are. There might be some that can't go in the hangar, but whether they can actually land or not, that may change.
I'm just going to say, I am surprised if this is going to be a colonizing ship, if it's quite small. That was my thing. It's like, if you were thinking this is like a Polaris side, I was expecting it to be really big for building bases and stuff, but maybe because the bases are they're all modular in their design, maybe it doesn't need to be that big, I guess. So yeah,
It's not about the size of the tool, you know.
Let's be honest,
honest,
it would depend more if they're actually building the base or whether it's just putting a base down.
Yeah,
Really different.
That's what I mean. This is the thing: is there's so many. This is what gets me. The thing is there's so many unknowns in terms of mechanics and how they actually want to implement a lot of animations and gameplay and stuff. It drives me crazy.
I mean, it could be something completely different and just be something that finds jump holes instead.
Yeah, I mean that would be funny, right? We'd all be like, "Oh my god!"
So something that
do
can
with outposts, it just goes out and finds these jump points and stabilizes them or something.
That would be terrible. But I don't know if anyone's seen the Saber Raven, but there was a picture. So for anyone that hasn't seen the Saber Raven, I'm just about to show it. Sneak. This is a sneak preview.
From where?
Sneak preview of the Saber Raven. There it is. Boom. You've never seen the Saber Raven? This is it. It's a beauty. It takes shits on the Super Hornets from this end here, from the rear end.
Where did you find
It drops the shit. Don't be in the wrong end of it.
Is that to scale or?
That's the scale. There's no trickery. That's 100% to scale. It's enormous.
Its special abilities are stealing your fucking silverware, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
So that's.
I have to say, whoever did this did a damn good job, because I was like really impressed with this idea of what the Saber Raven was looking like. Very, very excited by this. They did a great job.
Star Citizen turns into Transformers.
And I tell you what, also another little cool thing that I saw on whilst we were looking around, which I was going to bring up here. So this is the little. Let me just get the name up for this. 1 second. 2 seconds whilst I do this. Whoop.
The mid pens and that.
Yeah, these are the. Hang on, let's just get it here. So we got the medical pens. But what was interesting is they have an oxygen one.
Yeah.
Which I thought was pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know how much oxygen. Mind you, you've got the magic medical pen, so why not have a magical oxygen one as well?
You can buy those in the shop for $850.
Like, I don't know. I don't understand this. Like, people going upset about the $850 for this unknown ship. I mean, it's not like we haven't had an expensive ship in Star Citizen before.
Yeah.
It's new, and the fact that we know absolutely zero details on this new ship. Why? How can we? I mean, unless you're classing every single 850 ship as an expensive ship that's too expensive and shouldn't be charged that. Like, how can you sit there and say one's more expensive than another if you know nothing about it? It could be fucking the size of a planet. For all we know.
It's something that myself and Madness discussed earlier in a random phone call, where Madness said, "Oh, wouldn't you want to see the Banner Merchantman rather than all these new ships coming out and being ready before?"
Well, we were discussing that.
We were discussing this, yeah.
And I was saying why, like, and it was because I was watching Oxford in the morning, and he made a comment that I thought was quite valid. He was like, we see all these new ships all the time, and yet there's all these old ships that still haven't been finished. And he made a point like, where the fuck are they? Why aren't they ready? And then Saul gave me what I thought was a very interesting counter argument, which was what you were just about to say, Saul. So go ahead, say it.
No, you go for it. You go for it.
No, Saul just said basically, I don't want them to give me my really beautiful ship fucked up in the first edition. I want them to fuck up on other people's ships and then give me my ship, which is a way better one at the end of it. It's something
that I've been saying for a long time. I'd rather my ship be in the end of the line than in the beginning of the line, because look at a Drake. What's it called? Drake.
The Cutlass. It's on its second edition.
Cutlass, second edition.
The Freelancers on their third.
Freelancers on the third.
The Polaris has been made bigger as well, hasn't it?
The Polaris has been.
I'm sure the Javelin will get a rework to follow more in line with the likes of the 600.
I don't mind it too much. All the new ships.
Javelin, sorry.
Don't get me wrong. I wonder, do we need more? And I'm all about diversity, Miss. Don't get me wrong, but do we need more now?
This has been answered like time and time again, though. It's because the first ships they worked on were the ones that are in Squadron 42. Then they're going for the ones that belong to the career. There's no point working on, ships that belong to a career that hasn't been established properly. And then lastly, it's going to be alien ships, because it's all right attacking the alien ships and seeing them from the outside, but because of if they're giving them to us to use, they need to have a proper think and plan to make sure that it works with. Like, they haven't even fleshed out what the technology is for the Banu and things like that. How can they possibly bring out a ship for us that's Banu?
No, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather have this ship at the end of 2019.
But what I'm saying is, it's not just what you rather, which I get that, because, like you said, the later on, the more technology, the more they know what they're doing, definitely. But
exactly.
for race type and alien ships, until they've actually fleshed out those aliens, how the fuck can they give us a ship that belongs to one of them?
That's true.
Whereas, and again, the ships people work on something different to other people, and while the Banu may well still be stuck at concept, and there might be concept people still working on it, whereas these other ships are already done.
I think they've started on some things, because I've heard something a while back that the ship gone to Manchester when we had the Defender popping up. I think there was some rumor of them starting at least on the outlines of the Banner Merchantman in any shape or form. I don't know what it is, but.
Well, they started the Carrack. They started the white box in the Carrack, which is exciting for all those people that love the Carrack, and I'm excited about that because I think
I think a lot of people are excited for
it's a good ship.
Yeah. So it's good to have that in. But that's
on top of that. What makes people think the Banu or something else is worth? Apart, I know it was announced earlier, I suppose, so you could argue that. But other than that, what makes you think that that's more valid for them to do that first over another ship? The Banu may well have been announced much earlier on, but then later on, Oxford is if he's saying, "Why am I seeing the why am I not seeing the Banu, but I'm seeing all these new?"
I have to defend
He's not
Oxford
saying Banu.
in this case.
He's not said that. His
the
comments
first
were.
ships. There's
the early ships we haven't seen. He was just commenting on some of the early ships, and I was just curious because I didn't back the game from the beginning. I only backed it from a year ago, but I was involved from the beginning in terms of watching it and knowing about it, but I wasn't like super detailed on it. So what ships from the initial, I would say, year or whatever it was, what ships from that period of time have they not released?
It's probably because they haven't released them because there's no use for them.
Which ships have they? I mean, apart from the things like the
Which
Orion,
ones
which
from the original?
I guess the Orion is like what a massive.
I mean, that was a newer ship. That's not an original.
So that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm asking you. I don't know. I genuinely don't know. So if
I think
anyone,
most of them have been done.
so that's what I was wondering, because it's like we talk about new, but it's like from
The
what
stretch
period
goals.
of time are we
Have
talking?
any of the
goals?
stretch goal ships been done?
That haven't been, the Carrick maybe is the. I mean, that was a competition. No, that was
No, it's a question that I have for Miss or Bio might know. Have any of the stretch goal ships that were from back in the day? Because I've not been backing from the start. Have they been showing off stuff about the stretch goal ships? I know the Banner Merchantman is a stretch goal, right? The Carrick was a stretch goal. Am I saying that correct?
I don't know.
All
Were
the
they stretch
ships,
goals, or
all
were
the
they just...
ships are pretty much kind of targets or within money, and as the money goes, they get more money, they get bigger they get bigger, they get bigger things to kind of do and stuff. But I'm just wondering, of the initial period of time when they first kind of launched the game, sold the game to everybody, is there any ships that they haven't yet made a first edition on?
I think they've done, as far as I'm aware, I think they've done them all.
That's what I thought.
And the one that most people get salty is the Banu, which I suppose because it's one that was one of the very early ones that was suggested as a ship and hasn't been made. And so there's the Banu, and I think it might be the Carrick as well. I think it's those two that people really wanted, or not. Well, they really wanted the same as someone else may have really wanted a Hornet or whatever. Like it's been a long time. I get that.
Hornet is getting an over how do you say an over makeover as well now again, right?
Yeah, you've got to remember as well is that a lot of the new little ships as well. We've had a lot of little ships, which are a lot easier to make than some of these big monsters.
They've got those out pretty quick, haven't they?
The thing is, development changes though. Just because they announced a ship, right? Even if one they announced on the day one of Kickstarter, doesn't. If another idea comes through and they think this ship's more important, why the fuck shouldn't they make that? Why should they go back and say, all right, someone backed it for this ship? Like, as long as that ship comes out when the game's released, why? You can't argue that my ship's not ready yet. So who cares? Like, you haven't got a... because it was announced first. Well, no, just because it was announced first. Why the fuck does that mean it's going to get made first?
I like Miz. I'm with
the actual use of the Banu Merchantman is not even.
I've just fed up with people bitching all the fucking time when it's like when the game's released.
Hold on for a moment. Have you and Madness ran into a wall and you switched body? Is that what happened basically?
Because I'm not being salty about. No, I'm not being salty about the fucking game. Am I? I'm being salty about people being salty. It's like saying, they're developing the game, they're doing it. Unless you're sitting in Chris Roberts' chair, directing and saying how you think this game should be made, what he does it. Harry wants to do it. If he picks another ship that's more important,
so that's
exactly.
That's
so
fine.
who are we to say which ship he should be doing first?
Miss, don't get me wrong. I'm not moaning about everything. As I said, for me, and I said it to Madness earlier today. The later the better. If they come in 2019 with a Banner Merchantman or whenever, I'm happy with that. Because I can't do a lot.
I know you like yours being delayed. I know. You're the opposite to everybody. Delay it more.
Delay it more. I couldn't care less anymore.
The more time they take on things, the better version it's going to be in it.
Exactly, and the more fuck ups they did on previous ships, they'll learn, and from their lessons, they'll make the ship.
I'm going to go with. Hang on, I'm going to go with Miz. Miz is absolutely spot on in my opinion in terms of this. The reality is that they still haven't really fleshed out what the human characters and the human kind of people are going to do in this game. Let alone getting anywhere near an alien race. So they've probably having to do the Vandal because they're obviously doing Squadron 42. So that's all been done secretly, which I think is great. I don't actually want to know. And then the Banu and the Xi'an and the Tavarian, or the Tavarian, or however you want to say it. Those guys, they need to flesh all that out, and that's going to take time. And then the ships, and the reality is like they're already going to probably do a whole new path. They've already said on the Vandal to bring them in line again with new design and new things. They don't want to be wasting time redesigning all the time. They want to try and get as minimum redesigns as possible. So the Banu, for example, they already redesigned the characters' faces and the whole character for a second. They used to say they might not even do that again. They might
the same for the Xi'an. Or Xi'an, however you want to say it. This is what we're going to see at CitizenCon.
Are those the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
The turtle dudes, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to show another whole rework of them.
Oh, really? Nice.
I think it's going to be an interesting year when it comes to these alien races, though. And I love his name there, Juan Coronado. It's what Juan says as well. You know, the 890 jump compared to that ship was announced in the same period, but there's obviously a lot less made of them, so they have a lot less people asking. I love Sherman's comment there, by the way. Keep going, Sherman. But it's a big tropical surprise, and I love it. It's interesting though. I'm interested to see, and they always give us these crazy surprises. You know what I mean? So I hope that we're. And a lot of people have been asking for it, and hopefully they've listened. You know, I'm not a Carrick owner, but I would love to see the Carrick done and see what it's capable of and what people will do with it. You know,
very excited for it. I know a lot of people are because I think it's a military exploration ship, so it's going to have that. It's going to have that.
I'm going to be honest with all three of you and everyone on the stream. Most ships that I've seen up to now, my interest is not with those. I'm really looking forward to the Freelancer Max redone. I'm really looking to the ships that are still in the pipeline and we're still waiting to do. So for me, it's going to be a really exciting year, seeing all the different transport ships and that sort of things. I'm really excited. I'm
looking forward to see the Prowler.
The Prowler, it's going to be a dropship, but that's a cool fucking thing, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Can I just bring us just briefly back to the
of course,
because we're going to because we can talk about ships. I don't mind talking about ships. I love to talk about ships, not a problem. And if anyone Bio, do you want to add anything before I move away?
We can compare ships.
I'm happy to come back to ships.
You've covered it.
If there's anything you want to say, you've got burning desire, feel free now. Before I just wanted to go back to the med pen quickly because I wanted to talk about that.
Go back to the med pen. It's fine.
All right. Okay. So I just wanted to I just was like, we could talk about ships for hours and hours and hours, but I just wanted to talk about the med pen and in terms of the oxygen. And I was curious about the med pen and the oxygen stuff. Do you think it will be one hit only? Will it be like literally, and then it refills your oxygen?
That's some good shit.
Yeah, exactly. Or will it be stages? Do you think? Will it be like, you know, you can kind of like tell it how much oxygen you want to give you? You know.
I think it's going to be one hit, and then there's going to be a timer when you can put the second hit in. I think that's the most.
Because the medical one, I imagine, will be, you know, again, it's the same thing. Will it be like, you know, it gives you 1 bar, 2 bars, 5 bars, full health bar?
What does the medical one do now?
Depending how big it is, I cannot see myself running around with an oxygen tank that I'm going
just
to
completely heals you.
It's. I think it's a very, very limited shot to just get you through.
Just to get
time to get to a safe point or to get out of trouble.
Medical assistance.
Because I was thinking, because if you've broken your arm, for example, you know, and you use that to, like, you know, I'm just thinking, like, you know, the Predator, for example, you know, when he gets shot and he's like up in that tree, you know, and he's kind of like, you know, hey, patching himself up, and he has all these little tools and things to patch himself up and stuff. And I was like, you know, as it kind of gets me interested, and I kind of thinking that would be kind of cool, you know, to have your own medical kind of survival kit with you and stuff. And I was looking at this thinking, well, how, you know, would that just heal you completely all over, or it would just heal specific body part areas?
Do you mean in the future, or are you on about like when 3.0 comes out?
Oh, for the future. I mean, okay. For 3.0, I think it will be very basic. It will be run of the mill. It will just go, gives you oxygen all the way, and heals you completely. I think that's the minimum, and I think I don't expect anything more. I don't want them to do anything more, but I think to make this kind of mechanic more interesting, it would be cool if there was a little bit more depth to it. That's all.
I wonder if like the medical pen will be a kind of, you imagine like a modern game, like a stamina boost. I don't know if you can compare it to maybe say like PUBG, where it gives you the energy run.
Okay, like an adrenaline rush.
Fix, and then you need to go and get healed at a medic station or something later on, rather than actually just magically heal you.
So kind of like if you're on the verge of fainting, if you take that, it will just give you that extra kind of half an hour to find medical support.
Can I give you guys a stupid pitch?
Go for it. Is he the right place?
Yeah, we're all a bunch of fucking dumbasses anyway. Listen, so we know we're gonna have sort of drugs in game. We're gonna have drugs labs on planets.
Yeah.
Do you think we will be able to make an illegal pen that's basically going to do what Mitch just said in form of performance enhanced boosters?
You'll get you're gonna get like a blow up air balloon, and it'll attach to the end of one of these, and then that'll be it. That'll be what it
Gonna
is.
have Tina sitting in the ship next to me. you
That'll
know?
be what it'll be. Just get literally a
Like the
balloon,
launch med pen.
and then you'll
No,
get
but that
your
would be
big
interesting.
hit.
I can just see someone now with all balloons just
everywhere, straying around
on the ship. Can you just leave your balloons at home? I don't want it.
balloons, empty canisters. It'll be all silver empty canisters. Just literally.
Well, now we know why the everything's in a
Strewn
mess
around.
in these ehabs.
Yeah, it's
I don't know.
as high as a kite. But genuinely though, so I think you're absolutely spot on, and I really do think that they need to kind of. I'm sure they've written it into lore somewhere or something. There should be like some drug that is like
They've
rampant
already
through the.
they
village.
have
what I'm
already
saying,
said that we
They said
will
it.
get stamina boosts and eating food will affect things like that as well. So
It would be cool though.
I'm
Miz, if that
almost
was
certain there'll be an illegal
area.
version as well.
Yeah.
It would be cool though if that would be the gray area of the law. You know what I mean? And that there was a real trade going on, and that's.
I mean, there's no reason why they can't have it where some planets that will be legal, other planets it'll be illegal. Okay, so that would make very interesting kind of trading schemes.
Definitely,
So some places you can go and buy stuff and you'll be perfectly fine for buying it there. But if you try and take it into a certain space, you're then treading the illegal smuggler route rather than. Yeah, and that would be a good, valid way of getting smuggled goods into different places as well, if you could actually buy it legally.
The only weird thing about this picture, and I can understand the needle in the medical pen. I do not understand the needle in the oxygen pen.
I don't-
The
There's
other
no
one's not
needle.
got a needle,
There's
is
no
it?
needle.
It's like a
I don't know
Well,
if
what
you
is
can
it?
see
It's a little.
It's like
More
a
like a-
circular thing.
More like a drinking cap.
Yeah,
a
I think
vape
you just
thing.
plug into a
No,
port.
I think that is that looks like.
Just think of
it's
like
just
an inhaler.
protection, Yeah. Well, I think that looks a bit like a protection cap, but I hope they're going to make it so you can insert it to your suit. You know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
like
It's a suit thing. Yeah.
and it goes into the oxygen chamber of your suit or whatever. You know.
I
It
hope
could
so.
be like an inhaler.
Well, bit difficult
You plug it
hitting
in
the
and start
mask.
sound like Darth Vader. You plug it in
Oh,
there and
crap.
it's like Darth Vader
Yeah.
effect.
Hang on a minute.
Hang on.
Madness
Let
is
me-
asthma medicine.
Let me flick the lid over in 0G. Face explodes. Like full on Total Recall moment. Hang on a minute.
Don't need any oxygen now.
There we go. We're good. Yeah, I like this. I like to see this. I think the fact that we're going to, I mean, the medical profession and all this sort of stuff, I'd like to see them expand on this going forward over the next couple patches. See more of this. I'm sure they already are all over it.
Definitely what you asked for, Madness. You know, you've been saying for a long time, I want to see ships. I want to see the ships that they're making in their full capacity and what they can do.
It's
You know,
small-
good
just
example
like-
is the Reclaimer.
small
So it's good to see that they're now branching out into these slowly into these classes. Let's call it classes into these things. It's good to see. Really good to see.
And I guess that they're all going to be updated. Or that the animation's not just literally you just slamming it into your wrist each time for the oxygen and med as well, sort of thing. So
Definitely going to be interesting.
It'd be a fucked up wrist after a while, wouldn't
you look like a druggie, wouldn't you? All the freaking
it? Just big lumps.
holes in there. So.
It's the men tense, I'm honest.
So the next thing on the little topic of discussion is that we're now getting more and more information on statistics and stuff. So this is good. Okay, so they're starting to push out more, which I think is another sign that the web page update's going to probably be coming soon. They're going to start to implement more of the they're going to be making the stats right. They're going to be starting to do this stuff. So this is just state of stats interviews. And this is like people. This isn't different, but this is just talking about interviews where they're talking about the stats and the figures and information. So I'll link this in chat if anyone hasn't seen it.
Can I just comment on one thing?
Yeah.
You need to clear your cookies, man, because in the top right corner, that's not good.
Top right corner. Where?
Yeah, if you scroll up.
I'm not going to go anywhere near any cookies.
For fireman pad in the top right corner.
I'm not going near any cookies. Deadly cookies. Whoop! Oh dear. Badness is banned for life.
Oh, Bugbeard is not.
But
on,
no,
so
but
he
I
won't
mean,
be slapping
but
his
genuinely,
dad.
like this, they're bringing out more information and stats. We've seen the shipyards, we've seen the ship matrix thing that they're bringing out more.
Well, the shipyard thing that they've just released shows you that they're honing in a little bit on the details, if you like, rather than because everything's been kind of vague as new ships coming out and new things. Everything's been a bit all over the place, really, because ideas have come through and the game's been expanded, and then they've added stuff that was never originally intended. So they've kind of bolted it all on, and it's like they've now gone kind of back a bit and said, right, hang on, let's make this work throughout. So they've reassessed all this. We got the item 2.0, reassessing like the ship's components and all that.
And still no freelancers, Arctic Game says. I'm excited for those freelancers though, and their different models.
Probably because they want to make sure what they're doing with them.
I really want to see what they did with the. Because I wasn't in the first iteration, not a big fan of that new freelancer that they released. But I think
which new freelancer?
Sorry, I jump onto ships again. To jump on what you said, Miss. What I think is obviously now 2.0 is item system 2.0 is making its entrance. It's going to be a lot easier for them to start coming out with these stats, as they will probably make more sense than they did before. So it's just a follow up on I think item system 2.0, and them now having an idea. Okay, this is what it is. Let's start bringing out stats instead of like sucking stats out of our thumbs. You know what I mean? And
well, before originally the stats were just
they're just wrong. They're all
the ship that's supposed to be exploring. Okay, we'll give it 3 guns. We'll call them size 3, or we'll say it weighs about 2 ton. And you know, they kind of just looked at it and guessed what they thought it was. Whereas now they've actually got formula to work out those things, so that it becomes a bit more balanced.
I mean, they've got the whole pipeline. You know, the whole point is, you know, they've got the ship pipeline now is established, and I think now it's the back end kind of pipeline in terms of them giving us that information that they're doing for building the ships, and once the ships are finalized, enabling that pipeline to sift through to us, because they, at the end of the day, they need to do it so that if anything changes, so for example with like the Delta Patcher, for example, like balancing all that stuff, they need to be able to make it so that that gets changed almost simultaneously with the web page. You know, that's the kind of the kind of synchronization.
That's the perfect situation.
And I can you imagine how probably difficult and complicated that is? I can't imagine.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, can you imagine that happening?
Yeah.
I said no.
I can't imagine. I mean, the reality is that there are very clever coders out there, very clever people, and I'm sure they could probably crack it. But I'm sure that's probably the reason why this stuff's, everyone says, oh, well, why can't they just change anything? I think it's because they've probably been doing lots of sprints to try and create the pipeline and the process.
There's one answer to that, madness.
So
why change it?
And
why
Spectrum.
change it? Yeah, exactly. But why change it before if you probably have to change it again afterwards? So you're doing the job twice. I
but they could have done a basic change on some things. They could have done a very simple change on a few things.
I think it's completely reasonable that they waited till now to just do it all at once. And it's more how do you say, it's more streamlined. How do you call this? More efficient, I think is the word. It's more efficient to just wait till the end and get it all done. We had a rough idea of what we were going to get, which for me was more than enough. You buy it, and it's what we mentioned I think last week, where we said you buy a ship on for example a how do you call it, the first stage, the sale, when it concept sale. You don't know what you're going to get anyway, because Chris could change his mind when he ate a pizza salami 3 days ago, and he thinks different tomorrow, So it's tough. I think it's good they waited till the end and just change it all at once and let them focus their time on other, more towards.
Nowhere near the end.
No, but you know what I mean.
It's the beginning, really.
Let's say, you're right. I take back my words. Let's say further into development as they were before. I think that's better. Because otherwise people think that the full game is coming in through.
It's nowhere near. This is like the beginning of it. No, that's why I'm saying like the process, like the pipeline and all that stuff. Behind, they must feel confident that they're getting to a place where it's going to be manageable, because it's going to be manageable for them, because I think that. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it will be another 2 years of these stats, and we'll all be going, "Oh, for fuck's sake, seriously, how have they not upgraded the stats?"
Listen,
but I'd like to think they've learned, and they'll with Spectrum. Maybe they're just gonna. The web page ultimately will start to blend and morph more into Spectrum, and then things will happen through Spectrum, and they'll have that synergy between the game and Spectrum, and that's where the stats will be, and maybe they'll build that into it more. I don't know, but and they'll keep the web page more as a front for people that are just kind of coming in to kind of learn the basics, great videos, advertisements, and then the bulk of stuff will be moved into Spectrum. That would be my guess.
It's like a Tanga dance, madness. You start off with learning the Tanga dance, and you're stepping on each other's toes. And eventually you learn and it expands to what it's what it's going to be. But if the community doesn't have this have the stats to moan about, they'll probably find something else to moan about.
We always find something else.
Just for everyone in chat today, so we make this doc. There's going a lot of work in this by every single one of the people here sitting on this pod team here, and Madness gave me Reddit this week. I tell you, this is a fucking shithole of fucking salt.
I do it every week. I do Reddit and I do Spectrum, and I try and come up with interesting, different topics for us to talk about, because obviously by the time it comes to us or whatever, usually, there's all these other podcasts out there talking about stuff. There's, we've got we've got Mac and Board doing their video. We even got Miz has been doing it recently, sitting in front of a video talking for about 4 hours. So we need to come up with something fresh to talk about. So
don't get too jealous.
I'm not jealous. They haven't invited me.
Are you serious?
I'll let you have a few of our numbers.
No, and so and that's it. So that I have to. So I troll it, trying to come up with some interesting new things. But I'm tired of it, so I gave it to Soul this week to do it.
Listen, I was always wondering where all the miserable people meet, but I found out now.
It's Reddit.
It's Reddit, baby. Reddit.
I can't stand Reddit.
I think it's great. I love hanging out in it generally, because it's just, I sit there and I go,
we know it's where you recharge your salt.
I'm not that salty. Not that salty. No.
It's where you drive with your pickup to load it full of fucking salt and bring it back. That's what you do.
I just literally, I'm out of salt, lads. Need some more. No, it's what I like about it is because it's like, do you know what? Actually, do you know what someone said to me the other days, which actually made me really pleased. I know some other people would be like, "Oh my god, that's terrible," but somebody said to me, that our podcast was the first podcast they'd ever been on or watched where a podcast was negative towards Star Citizen, and actually showed a negative perspective.
We're just I think we
I haven't watched any fucking podcasts before.
I was like, okay, very interesting. But then we were the first one. I mean, I think he was talking about back in the day or whatever. But I mean, because we've been doing this nearly for a year now. So, but he was saying that we were the first one, and I was like, wow, that's kind of cool, because I've always tried to be balanced.
Ones that are positive.
I think we're all just fucking honest and very opinionated, and
maybe.
We'll get both sides of everything, don't we?
I think that's the strong part of the Addicted podcast. You have Madness, who's always salty, then you have Miss, who is always very smart, then you have me, who makes stupid comments, then you have Bayo, who's with us today as well. I don't know what Bayo does well, but we'll find out later.
I'm the tour guide.
Tour guide. And then we have Mac. He's very good at talking shite in front of a video. Miss is joining him lately as well, so
we're just jealous. Right, I'm going to move it on to the TwitchCon. So does everyone? Okay, I'm just going to throw it out there in chat and stuff. Did everyone watch TwitchCon? Did you guys check out the TwitchCon panel? Did you see the questions? Did you see the British idiot that was the end of this panel? I wanted to get up and slap him. I was like, dude, seriously, I want to take your passport. You're never allowed back in the country. What the hell are you doing? You were given an opportunity to ask this panel a question and you wasted it with the most ridiculous question. I couldn't believe it. I mean, it wasn't even worth. It was not even worth bringing it up on stream. It was just embarrassing, and I was embarrassed for him. But I was generally embarrassed. I'm generally embarrassed by a lot of the questions. Dr. Drowns, I got to give a shout out. Asked a good question. Well done, sir.
Great question, and
good question.
Got Chad involved as well.
Proper person that knows a bit more about Star Citizen, asking a proper question for a change.
Can I be honest? What I think about TwitchCon?
I'm just going to play it, but I'm not going to actually have the sound on, guys.
So I think it's interesting that obviously the Star Citizen guys have a place to talk there. What I in general think though is I don't know, man, about such an event. You see a lot of these partner streamers with their noses up in the air. I'm not really bothered about that, you know what I mean? If I want to watch comedy, I'll watch Hollyoaks on Saturday evening. So, you know what I mean? It's like, I think there's some interesting things there, but you need to filter out really what you want to watch, And I think the Star Citizen one was interesting, but I totally agree with you, man. Is that question that he asked? They should have grabbed the shovel from behind that purple curtain.
What question did he ask?
Him in the face with it.
Should have just honestly, if I was there, I genuinely, I swear, I would have kicked myself if I didn't have just shouted up and gone, boo! And I love what Disco. Basically, he comes out and he goes something along the lines of, "What are you guys going to do about so and so name?" I think something about his org and something to do with the leader of the org. And Disco answered it beautifully. who? And literally like walked away. And then the guy who started going on about some other dumb question about nipples, like, and then the guy was like, what the I was like, I was just like, literally my head was like this going, oh my God, this guy's British as well. Fucking hell. Seriously, he's flown all the way over to America to ask that question, and it was just, I was just, oh my God, I couldn't believe it, because I was like, you could have asked him, and he wasn't even like, everyone was like, who, and like, I'm like, all my pilot friends, and trust me, a lot of these guys have been doing combat, and they're all like, who the fuck who is this person? Like, it's as if it's like meant to be some gank, like super gank goons, or I was really like. I had no idea. I don't know if
it's what Jolly says there. I've heard about these guys, but they probably won't.
British idiots, part of a group called SDC. There are trolls from Elite Dangerous and basically go around trolling, ganking everyone they see. Okay, well that's what they kind of got the impression. Like, what we're going to do about them, and I'm like, well, I tell you what we'll do about you. We'll kill you. That's in the verse.
Oh yeah, I think I know. I came running during the day and I killed all 3 of them.
We will wipe our asses with your ships,
the floor, and that is an official.
If I can beat them, then anyone can.
Sorry.
If the tour guide can beat them, everyone can.
Yeah, definitely.
So,
Miss, how much commission are you receiving to wear that T-shirt today? By the way,
do you like it? I thought, like, since I'm being sponsored by sitting in front of the video,
yes,
I might as well fully embrace it with the T-shirt as well.
Miss will get paid in beard hair.
Nice one, Miz. I'm surprised you're not wearing your T-shirt, Miz. Oh, but you want to save it for...
I'm saving it because I'll have to wash it otherwise.
It's all packed. yeah, it's all packed. It's all packed. So, yeah, I agree. The answers to the panels were good. I mean, Jay Lee, I thought, did a good job answering the question. The guy asked an awkward question, and then Jay Lee kind of switched it back on him, which I thought, I mean, again, Oxford wasn't very chuffed about it this morning, but I was like...
Did anyone watch the panel with about the history of space games?
Do you have the link?
That's
yes. I watched a little bit of it when they were talking about, and I was yawning, and then I switched it over.
What was Disco doing with Bad News Baron? It was like uncomfortable sitting almost like on his lap.
I don't know. You got the link? I don't know.
The full thing. It was just like the full thing. It was just like everyone else was quite evenly spaced, and he just seemed to be like pretty much like.
Oh, was there a little bit of
it's like, come on, give him a bit of freaking room.
Yeah. I mean, I did say in Oxford Channel that I did ask if Ben was sitting on 2 chairs. Because he did look like he was sitting on 2 chairs, bless him. Look, there's one there and there's one behind him. And
he's a big man. Listen, he's
no, but what I mean was...
No, that's because the other chair's been pushed back.
But I was like, why didn't they give him a proper chair, is what I was going to say. He's a big man, he needs a big chair. This is America, for crying out loud. They've got to have big
what was
chairs.
the gag based on the T-shirts, Sherman? I'm interested. You got me excited now.
Oh, could you not move the chairs from side to side? That might have been why Disco was sitting on him. It's all right. It just looked a bit funny. Like
that would explain why probably Ben's
when they looked at the video, he was like that, and Bad News Baron was like this, trying to look around Disco, and it was like, come on.
He was trying to look past Disco's beard, probably.
Yeah, probably.
You couldn't see anything.
That's got really wild, doesn't it?
Well, that's because he's got to shave it until 3.0's live. Poor guy. My goodness. Good job he didn't say he didn't have to shave his pubes. He'd be struggling to walk around anywhere.
Oh God! That'll just be distracting, isn't it?
Ooh, tumbleweed.
Sits on the stars.
The conversation.
Big bulge.
Big bulge. Just joining, meeting in the middle. Just meeting.
Getting facial hair sorted.
Right, next. But I genuinely I thought, you know what I find interesting about TwitchCon, and I'm just because I wasn't there, but what I love, and I said this to Sol off air, I said it's kind of funny because people that do Twitch generally are slightly socially awkward, generally to a degree, and not all, but generally to a little bit. And also, you know, we all interact through computers and stuff, and then they have to go to like these events and kind of like mingle in person. And I could imagine it being kind of a bit weird until the alcohol was flowing, and then it just goes probably crazy.
I don't know. When we go, we've been to CitizenCon, and I think because you have very similar interests, it's a lot easier to
Mandus doesn't remember much.
No, Mandus was sleeping half of
yeah, no, I was gonna say he was sleeping.
So tired.
I think because you're on a bit of the same level, all nerds together, it's probably pretty easy to get going. You know, that's what I felt, and I'm I'm very socially awkward, man. As you know, I'm not good in public places. I'm not good meeting new people, and I didn't really have that feeling when I was at BritizenCon because everyone does not judge. You know, everyone's very open, and you have a lot of similarities, and that's really good about the Star Citizen community.
Right, so
You know-
we're going into your section on the Reddit conversation piece. Do you want to bring me up something that you really wanted to talk about?
For me, it was my first time Reddit, so it was pretty hard to.
Because you've got Retaliator, so I'll just read through and then you tell me if this
Yeah,
is
that's
right.
something that I put in for you, as you were always very salty about the Retaliator. I thought this was the perfect. So you had this Retaliator owner that was very proud about his torpedo bomber.
Shame.
Shame on him.
Shame.
Shame on him. They should take that ship off him and give him an Aurora. But he was saying, it's an interesting one. What could a Retaliator, as a Retaliator base owner, I wondered what exactly the non-torpedo bomber tally would be good for. Well, you basically bought the ship to spam these shit torpedoes anyway, so who cares?
Yeah,
But I think it would be an interesting ship as some sort of a gunship. You know what I mean? I think he made an interesting point there, saying can turrets be swapped with different loadout options, and he now is getting a bit of an idea of what the tally can do besides just being a torpedo bomber. You know what I mean?
Well, so just to answer there's a few things on this one I was going to say is one, its name is a bomber. It's a torpedo bomber, so that's what it should be really good at. And the whole point is that, you know, you shouldn't be multitasking ships. You know, you shouldn't be able to get in a Retaliator and be a really great dogfighter. You should be able to get in a Retaliator and be able to do, I don't know, base building or fucking medical facilities. The reality is you bought a bomber, mate. And if you didn't like a bomber, go sell the fucking thing and go get a proper ship that can do something else. That's the way I look at it. But if you want to kind of expand on the tally's abilities a little bit more and make it kind of do some other things, then sure, I don't have a problem with them maybe swapping out a few of the loadouts, the missiles. We know for a fact that turrets are now having a bit of an overhaul. We're going to have unmanned turrets and we're going to have manned turrets, so I'm excited to see how they progress with these automatic turrets and how, you know, we're going to be able to control them, if we can control them at all, you know, from like, you know, monitors or whatever, or if there's a way to, like, you get into, what's the ship you get into now where is it the Hornet? You can kind of get into you don't get into the cockpit, but you can control it from the seat, but it gives you the view of the turret. I'm not sure if it's the Hornet or if, I think it's the Hornet. It's the Super Hornet, isn't it? Because you don't
Super Hornet
actually.
does the back.
The Super Hornet is the example of that. So, you know, I kind of get that. I mean, he talks about, I think I saw your notes, he talks about different loadouts, like 4-size ones. The reality is like humans, if you give people the option to be able to mix with loadouts and stuff, then people go crazy. I mean, we do it all the time now. I mean, Zach's running around with a saber with like 16 size 1s, and it does devastating, or like 8 size, I don't know, it's a ridiculous number of size 1 missiles, and he loads them all up and then fires them all, and you just see the carnage after him. And he just was like, you know, I'm just going to try it out, mess around with it, and I'm cool with it. But the reality is it's a fucking bomber. You bought a bomber, mate, so it's going to be a bomber. That's
I agree.
The reality. You know, I'm more interested in what they're going to do about fixing torpedoes in terms of the way torpedoes work in the verse than I am in the loadout of the Retaliator. I really don't give a shit about that. I would rather them fix how torpedoes work, and size 9s don't behave like size 3s and are overkill. Yeah, well, I don't mind the overkill, but they should be overkilling and doing big damage to capital ships and, you know, large ships and capital ships. So now we've seen the loadouts. So you guys have seen that, right? Where they're showing us now the sizing of ships. So you got like a small ship is like a Saber, Gladius, whatever. Then you got the snub ships or kind of whatever, you know, the X85 and all that kind of thing. And then a large ship is a Connie. A medium ship, I think, is a Cutlass. A large ship is a Connie equivalent, and then like capital is obviously the ones we know, capital like Polaris and Javelin and all that stuff. And they're really kind of like, we're talking about the stats and stuff, they're really honing down on what it is, and it's not necessarily just to do with the size of the ship, it's to do with the crew and how many people are involved.
What you do with it, basically. That's what we said earlier.
Yeah, exactly what we said earlier.
It was an interesting one. Jumping on to the next one, I think we've asked it a lot of times, but I wanted to know, how do you guys feel? Now we are getting closer to 3.0, let's say that. You know, now we're getting closer to 3.0. How do you guys feel? What advice would you give someone that is new to the game at this moment in time? Is it worth jumping in? How do you guys feel that? Might be a good one to start with, Madness, and
Yeah.
go around the table.
I've said people before, I've always say is do your homework for about 2 weeks. Don't jump in the game straight away. I mean, do your homework, watch streamers, talk to different streamers that play the game, get an overall opinion from people. Do your homework on the internet, do Googling, do Reddit, whatever. Don't just do Reddit, but make sure you go to the webpage. I always say get a good balance for you, the negative
Don't
and
do
the
Reddit,
positive.
'cause you'll never buy the game.
No, I know, but do the balance.
You'll never
I always
come out
say
of
go
Reddit.
to both, come to us, talk to other people, streamers. We'll give you a very honest opinion on the state of the game. Some people might say immediately go buy it. I always say just do your homework. If you've already done your homework and you're still interested and you want to get the game, you can sign up without paying any money. You can still register.
I always say buy it and use my referral code.
Yeah. But if you're dead keen on it, I always try to walk through everybody and I say, if you're going to do it, I always want to know what they want to do in the game first, really, dude, seriously. Because if someone says to me, I want to be a really great dogfighter, I'll be like, all right, this is what you need to do. You need this, this, and this. This is the best way to do it. And this is what's good about dogfighting at the moment in the game. And it's good, fun, generally. And, there's a few problems with it, but it's generally you're going to have a good time. If you wanted to be a trader, or you wanted to do mining, or you wanted to do bounty hunting, or all these other things that you think you've seen in adverts and videos for Star Citizen, I would say you could be disappointed, and it's probably best to register an account, get involved, learn how to fly, learn the verse, learn the game. You're at a good time now because 3.0 is about to come around the corner for exploration and cargo running. But if you're mad keen set on a specific thing like mining or something, I would say just register an account
Go check
and
out.
wait.
This is what advice.
Sorry, that was a long answer. Sorry, that was a long answer.
Oh, that's right. So the advice that I give to the new players is go watch a little bit of Madness, see how shit he does, and then you do better. Basically, you're a good dogfighter, man. All respects. In Bio, you go first because Miss, because I said we're going around the table. I did my pitch as last. Sorry.
It's not far off what Madness said. Really, it's you don't even necessarily need to do research. It's basically how happy you are at waiting for a game. It's alpha, and realize that it's alpha. Realize that a lot of the features aren't in there. And it depends on if you're the sort of person that can put up with the fact that it's not a full game and that the game can potentially be another few more years off. And if and then I think once you know that if you do want to jump in, I mean, the thing is, there was a little point before they split the packages that they'll, at that point, I would have said to anybody that came onto the stream, then buy in, because buying the Squadron 42 and the Star Citizen as one package was good value for money. Now I don't know if the starter packages are really going to go up in price. This may well be the bottom, the top price that they would go at for a starter package. So it's not gaining any advantage, I think, unless they do another announcement that they're going to put the prices up. You're not necessarily gaining much about advantage just buying it, even if you didn't want to play it. So you'd have to be sure that you kind of want to play it, really. But it's, I don't know. Squadron 42, what about it?
Sorry, I was just, is that what you mean in terms of like you want to buy it in terms of the starter package as well, the combo pack, or are you just talking about the just the individual pack? Sorry.
I mean, if you well, that depends if you're interested in the single player. If you're interested in the single player, you might as well just buy it as a full package, I suppose. Because you still get the discount from buying the two together. But I mean, as they've made it at the moment, you can buy one and then you get the other one discounted and you just apply it later on. You don't actually have to buy them both at the same time.
You pay what you would pay for.
If they didn't separate, I was always curious why they separated it in the first place. I don't know why. A part of me was always like, if you bought, for example, Modern Warfare 2, you had there's Modern Warfare and there's the campaign and there's the multiplayer and it was all part of the same game. And if they just said it's £72 to buy Star Citizen and you get Squadron 42 and you get the universe and that's it, and you get your starter ship, whatever it is, if it's an Aurora or whatever. And I know it's like they wanted to split it apart to make it cheaper, but then I'm like, well, then Just make it cheaper. Just charge
It's not just
$42 to give Squadron
It's
42.
not just to make it cheaper. It's because,
Why?
as far as they're concerned, it's 2 AAA games. They are saying that they are separate enough to be counted as 2 games.
Well, we'll wait and see about that. We'll judge that when we see it. But like I said, there's so many games that they have the single player story game is still part of the game. It
Most
better be
games do,
fucking good. Is all I'm going to say to CIG. It better be fucking good.
Definitely. I have to agree with this at some point. I think I think you should play the single player campaign before you even, we are probably going to do it anyway, but it will probably be a lead in towards the MMO side of things. But it's what Madness says. It better be fucking good if you want to ask a separate question. But what are they charging for?
It's $40 or something, isn't it?
$40? No, I think it's 15 quid.
Hang on, where is it?
15 quid is the Squadron 42 add-on, so it's not that crazy.
Well, if you have it as an add-on.
If you've already bought the you've already bought Star Citizen.
All of us have a starter package anyway, so
But on its own, standalone, how much is it standalone?
40. But I see their thing. 15 quid added on to an Aurora is not a lot of money though. You know what I mean?
It's no different. It's no different to what Madness is really saying. You can buy it as a bundle for the 70 quid anyway. So what saying doesn't count because it's if
to
if
reduce
they
confusion is all I'm wanting to say.
It adds to confusion a bit. Yeah.
If you just reduce the confusion and just said, this is how much Star Citizen costs. It's a $70 game because you're getting 2 AAA games with it, and you get a starter ship, and we're building a fantastic game, and it's going to cost you $70 to get into the game. And you get Squadron 42, and you get this, and that's it. And there's no $20, $40, whatever. It's clean, it's simple, and bang, there you go. That's
I know people that have just brought the multiplayer because they don't want to play the single player. They're happy with the way they're doing it.
And there may be some that just have no interest in online play but want to play the single player. That's the whole reason for it.
That's the only reason they do it. Well, I mean, personally, I would just simplify it, but that's fine. If people really care that much about having them separate,
it's a matter of if they simplify it, then there'll be people. Well, I'm not buying that then because I can't buy what I want. So then they're losing money.
I don't know. If the game's great, people still fucking buy it. Like I said, I just used Modern Warfare as an example, and COD game like I play when they had the single player campaign thing, and then they had the thing, and it was all part of the same thing. And I it's fine. You make absolutely valid points why they're separate, and I completely agree. It's fine. It's not a problem. But I'm just saying, my simple brain just likes keeping it simple as one thing and just saying it's 70 quid. That's the way I look at it. But hey ho, it is what it is. That's not my decision. Right. Next on the agenda, you've got it. Redeemer fan art. It's just, should we bust this bad boy?
I love that. I'm a bit of an artsy person.
It's good. I'm all about the artsy. We're gonna have art in a bit later on for the show.
And I like the atmosphere. I don't like the Redeemer as a ship. I think it looks like some kind of misformed scissors or a can opener. But I like what this person has done with this, and he put really his what. This is a good example, and this is why I love art. Someone had something in his head, and he put this on this thing. I really loved it. What he done with it. I could see it as a real thing.
Here's the thing with the Redeemer. So I'm just gonna grab in quickly the picture of the Redeemer right now. I'm gonna bring it up on the stream as well. So
there's not a lot of room for this. Is that what you're saying?
So I believe, is this the right one, or am I looking at an incorrect picture? Hang on. No, I think this is right.
I think that's one. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. So this was the one that was fan made that won the competition.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so they actually hired some of the guys I think that actually did the design as well. And I believe they're going to rework this ship.
Yes.
This is getting a rework because let's be honest, it doesn't really fit with a lot of the ship pipeline. Doesn't fit with the aesthetics. I'm sure they'll keep some of the aesthetical parts. Maybe they'll kind of play with it, but I'm sure it's going to look quite a lot different to this, if I'm being honest.
I hope so. I'm not a fan of the outside.
It's interesting. I always thought it was quite funny. These circular bits, they ended up almost becoming part of the Prowler.
Yeah, I've seen that.
The glowy blue, you mean?
The glowy blue things,
the glowy bits. Sorry, I keep forgetting. I'm spinning my bloody mouse and you guys can't see it. But the glowy circular bits, the round bits on the thing. Always, I was like, when I saw the Prowler and then I saw this, I was like, oh,
did you see what he did? The round bits on the thing.
The round bits on the thing. Those kind of things.
I like your interpretation there.
But it feels like, it does feel like the kind of like the designer who designed the Prowler has kind of been involved in this, whatever.
Prowler is very sleek.
And then I was looking at the kind of the the internals of it and stuff, and kind of I like it. It's nice.
It's good.
I get
done,
the
right?
feeling, the grey, the military kind of aspect of it.
The
I
little
want
bit of
this.
mix.
I want
the
I
Aegis.
want this poker table, dude. This poker table. Got to get a poker table in Star Citizen.
But this is like kind of what I was on about for ages, like, you know, having the livable ship. It's having an area where you can socialise in it.
Okay, so sorry, I'm
Everyone
just looking
keeps
at
taking
chat.
piss at me for wanting a
Yeah.
Winnebago. But, you know, that's kind of what it is, though, isn't it? It's just a small little social area where you don't... Because, like, in the Freelancer, you've got nothing. You've got the cockpit where you're all facing forwards, or you've got the beds, which are escape pods, and then that's it. You've got a 4-man multi-crew, or however many multi-crew ship the Freelancer wants to be. But you can't do anything other than sit in the pilot seat.
Remember that first advert that we had of the Freelancer, Miz?
Mm-hmm.
Where the one dude
Wine
was
better
sitting
do
in his
it.
Freelancer and he was chilling about. What I would have loved to have seen in the Freelancer, and it's going to be a really stupid thing that I'm probably going to say, and a lot of people are not going to agree with me. I would remove all the beds out of there and turn it into a social area and put 1 escape pod in or 2 escape pods in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But obviously, I can see because now they have 4 seats, they need 4 escape pods. Put them somewhere else, you know. But I would have loved to see a bit more that loner trader ship that you can man on your own, where you can make a bit of buck on the side. You know, that would have been a cool idea. I would love to see a bit more social area in that Freelancer. I totally agree
That's
with you.
that is my only gripe with the Freelancer, which is making me consider a different ship, just because I want it to just that little bit bigger or just that little bit changed so that you can have a bit of a social part in there
That's
as well.
why I
really.
like the Freelancer Max, because the ass was a lot wider. You know what I mean?
And that's what I originally
Hope to
wanted, but I don't know if I can't hold much hope for that having a social area in there either.
Looking at the Drake, looking at the Cutlass, though, it doesn't really have that social area either, right?
Do you know
It's
what
a similar.
ship might do it? The Phoenix.
They have all their seats at the back.
Constellation Phoenix. Might be that social ship that, you know, rather than
but
the
that's
600, it's
high
cheaper than the
class.
But
600.
it's high-end luxury. That's the problem, isn't
High-end
it?
luxury, that is, man. That's a bit.
I know it's high-end luxury, but it's a bit cheap. It's cheaper than the
Look at an
600.
Arguila or an Andromeda. They already have that social area in there anyway, a little bit. They have the room for
You don't
that,
think
you
it will
know?
be a bit more? I'm just thinking, like, you're talking about just a social thing, or do you want like more alien social with just a really cool table, circular table with the light where people just gather around, kind of like that kind of alien movie? You know what I'm about, right? The Nostromus kind of, that whole kind of dining area where the guy gets his alien comes out of his chest type of thing. Is that the kind of dining area that you're
Well,
talking
Sherman
about?
says there the Cutlass was built to be an on-task ship. I guess.
Yeah, but I wasn't on about the
that's
Cutlass.
in that class then as
No,
well.
you're on about the
I
Freelancer,
was on
right?
about the Freelancer, not the
Yeah.
Cutlass.
No, but I mentioned the
Cutlass-
Cutlass having no social area as well. So
Yes.
I think
Yeah.
I think the Freelancer
Modular.
should maybe be put in that class as well as just being an on-task ship without too
suppose
many
so.
puhai. You know what I mean?
I don't know. I just felt like ships could do with kind of like if I suppose the journeys. What they're trying to say is the journeys are never going to be long enough that you're living in your ship.
Yeah, that's what I was.
It's
You
kind
sound,
of like-
you want
You're
the
talking about the
Winnebago,
Winnebago,
living
Winnebago,
for
yeah.
travel, living. You want the Firefly ship, you know, the Serenity kind of. You
Yeah.
live on your ship for. You can live on your ship for long periods of time rather than.
Yeah, why not?
You know, canal barge ship.
But,
Whatever.
I mean, I probably just won't get it, but that's what I wanted. Yeah, and I don't mean like I know like the Phoenix, like you're saying, but I suppose that's luxury, whereas not everyone wants or
dirty?
can afford luxury. You just not necessarily dirty, just a smaller,
Clean
know,
It's a good one for
Miz
sure.
will
clean
clean
it.
it. Miz will clean
clean
it.
one.
There is not a lot of space to Winnebago in a Freelancer, though. You know what I mean?
Well, there is nowhere. There's no living space in the Freelancer.
No, or you
Maybe it's
you
yet
do it
to
in the
come.
back.
Maybe it's
Maybe.
maybe it's yet to come. I think
A revamp.
the idea, like a civilian version of a Cutlass or something, or a mod, you know, a kind of more of a, you know, someone's taken that and some manufacturer that we haven't heard and kind of customized it and turned it into a Winnebago.
My ship exhibit.
Ms. Enterprises has taken hold of all these ships, the Freelancer, and kind of changed them. I like the idea of what you're saying.
Painted them orange.
I think a lot of people would really like that, honestly, like the kind of you can take your ship and just go and take your mates and just have a bit of a laugh and poker night or whatever. I like the idea of that. So it reminds me of, again, like the Normandy. you know, which had the kind of the social area, you know, had a social area. It's a different game, Mass Effect, I know, but you know, that if you actually had the multiple decks, and there was obviously the social area, the bar area.
Can I do an observation, Madness? I have the feeling that you start to lean towards other things. You've been playing Truck Simulator a lot lately. Is that what is happening?
I'm having to.
Are you putting down the guns? Are you gonna?
I have to learn to adapt. 3.0 will be the most boringest of all the patches that we are going to get. I know it's controversial, and I've said this on my stream many times. 3.0 for me, I think, will be the most boringest patch of all. I
think as for dogfighting, Madness, there will still be a lot
I genuinely
of
think for
opportunity.
the whole game, it will be the most boringest patch of all. I think it will be fun and exciting for a month, but I think
totally
we'll
disagree
we
with
will
you there.
consume that content so quickly.
I totally disagree with you there. I
don't
think
think you
there's a lot more space to role play
Mm-hmm.
in 3.0 than that there is now. You know what I mean?
It will be
there is.
probably more boring for him.
Yeah, but Madness is bored very quickly. You know what I mean?
Well, I know, but as I'm just saying, it's not for everybody. Most people will enjoy it and enjoy it for a long time. For Madness, not so much.
No.
Yeah, I am. I think. Oh, are you breaking NDA there, Miz? No, I'm joking.
No, just agreeing. Like you said, it's a bigger space. you find it difficult to find people to fight as it is. Now expand that over 3 moons. Plus people landing on planets. It's nothing about NDA.
For
It's
everyone
just
watching
physical.
the podcast, Madness just plays this. It's just a character that he plays, basically.
No,
He
the truth.
He
The
really
truth
is a Care Bear. He
I
really
am a
is.
Care, but naturally I was a Care. When I first, to be truthful, when I first ever bought this game, I was all about doing the exploration and the farming. That was the 2 things. If anyone asked me when I first played the game, that's what I wanted to do. But I was drawn initially to the fact that Chris Roberts did Wing
Gold Rush
Commander,
the
and they
game
did
is the game for you,
fantastic dogfighting. So I knew that the dogfighting part of the game would be fantastic, and I knew that the PvP element would be great, which would keep me entertained, which it has done. But ultimately, I want more longevity for the game. I want to enjoy playing. If I'm in a chill out mood, I want to be able to get in my ship. I want to maybe get in Miz's ship, and we can just play some poker and hang out, or Soul, or whatever.
CryEngine is developing longevity.
You know, and obviously Miz cheats. He may find a shotgun, or walks around in spandex. He may find me standing there with a shotgun, scaring the crap out of
I
him.
definitely cheat.
He will crash.
But I like the idea of that. And so if you're asking me, am I changing? No, I will always be Littlebitofmadness, and I will always be a dogfighter. But I
champ.
will be, I may not always be the champ. I will always be the 2017 champ. That's never going anywhere. But I will, I have to change. The reality is you cannot be still. In life, you cannot be still. You have to change to the patches. 3.0 is going to change the game in terms of the way that combat is played. I will probably have to go into AC to probably stay sharp, and less of PU, and more PU will be exploring, role-playing, maybe hanging out with more people, maybe joining up with people to do things.
You can give me a video call.
We'll wait and see. And maybe it won't be. Maybe I'll find a bottleneck where everybody has to go, and we go kill everybody, and it'll be fantastic. You just don't know.
I think what you'll eventually see, man, is that probably people are going to say, okay, let's fight each other, let's meet up there, and you might find hotspots where people meet up to do dogfights. You know what I mean? People will find a way to.
Kind of like people do in Korea at the moment.
Exactly, and CIG has announced it as well. You know, we will create hotspots where there is more action, and then people can choose to either go to those hotspots or try and avoid it, or try and sneak in, or something like that. So we will see that stuff coming anyway. I think there's something for everyone, you know. But I would love to see you trucking together with me. You know, we have these beautiful songs on.
I will be. It'll be hilarious. It'll be a right laugh. Honestly, it will be an absolute laugh because I'll be sat there with my shotgun or sniper rifle, just itching to shoot something, and Saul will just keep walking past me. I just keep tracking you with my gun like that, going bang, bang, just pretending.
Listen, have you seen the concept art of this Banner Merchant Man? Have you seen the size of those guns?
No. Oh, yes. You keep telling me.
I can basically fart on you with that.
All right. Saul's been telling me how great these guns are. They're all at the front of his ship, so I look forward to him trying to
side at the back underneath,
I'll be constantly behind him all the time, and never anywhere near the front of his gun.
Doing the donkey maneuver on him.
Exactly, doing the donkey maneuver. Right. Okay. So the next section we are going to do not delete TwitchCon. Lando and Ben on the panel.
Delete TwitchCon.
Do not.
Just for the random
That's
set.
not-
Oh no, we already mentioned this. I don't have to do that
I
again.
love reading out people's highlights. It's fantastic. Do not delete.
That's because I did it when no one else had actually touched the document. Someone actually bothered to do some work.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
we'll put it
actually,
in
what I like is that you've kind of touched on something which I think is
I
great,
think
which
I
is
wrote the
upcoming
sentence
space
in there,
games.
it's, I don't give a fuck or something.
No, this is cool. This is cool. All right, I'm gonna go with the first one you gave us, which was this is the seating situation, which I'll push live. This is what you were talking about.
The Gladius cockpit has become a meme.
Yeah, probably. Yeah. So this is the seat situation that you were talking about.
When was the last time that Bad News Baron played Star Citizen, by the way?
It's what he started his streaming career with.
Scott Manley was here. I can't remember who this gentleman was with the Jurassic Park t-shirt. Who was this guy in the middle? Scott Manley was the one with the glasses and was doing the full kind of Biggles outfit, which I thought was great.
Manly is a good guy. Manly is a good guy.
And then Ben, Disco, you had obviously Captain Richards, who looked really different. Has he shaved his beard or something?
At community guy, Juan says.
Oh, okay, thank you. Yeah, and then community, and then you had Disco, and then Bad News Baron. So yeah, I was just curious. I was just because you had the because you had the thing up, and then we had this was interesting. So upcoming space games. So this is I've said this before on the stream. I've showed you guys the video. Beyond Good and Evil 2 is a game I am all over. Very interested to see how that's going to come on. I haven't seen these other ones though. I think I may have seen one of them. Either Stationers and the Juan one.
Dual Universe is
I
called.
think it was vegan burrito that pointed out a game, and I think it's the one there with the spaceship on the left side there above the planet.
That could be it,
Listen
boys.
to what I'm saying, man.
That could be it, boys. That could be it. The game. I'm listening. Sorry,
Hey.
you go for it. Sorry, I just saw Starfighter and it said hardcore space combat. And I'm already getting excited.
Yeah. So Dual Universe is what vegan showed me, and I think that is going to be a very nice game to watch. I'm very disappointed to not see Hellion on this list, as I think it's a space game with a lot of significance in the form of immersion.
It's already out. This is upcoming games. That's already.
It's not out yet. It's alpha. It's
I
the
think
same as
it
Star
means these are
Citizen.
ones that can't even play at the
Yeah, you
moment.
can't even play
Yeah.
this yet.
I think
Aye.
that's what it was.
Coming
But the
soon.
Dual Universe one is definitely something to watch. Although
Okay.
Star Citizen is obviously the best. I have to say this because Sherman is here. But no,
Well,
I think
Citizen
it's gonna be
but the
interesting to
truth
watch.
is that this is the competition. The reality is Star Citizen set the bar, and there's money to be had at doing space simulation games. And the reality is that there are other games that are going to come along. There are other games that are going to be made at the same time with these guys. They have competition. It's not like they just own the space genre. There are other companies out there
Star Citizen
building
owns
games.
the space genre. Come on.
They don't
I
own
think-
it. It's other people going to be doing stuff. And if
I
they
think
let the
it's one
ball
of the
slide,
most anticipated ones, though, Manis.
which one?
Star Citizen.
In 3 years, for the last 3 years, yeah, it has been, and it will be continue to be the most.
But you were talking about longevity. You'll get longevity. 5-year development or 6 year or 7 years. You'll get longevity here, man. It's all for you, man.
Wait and see. I don't know. At the moment, I've got enough. I don't know. We'll wait and see. But like I said, I'm always excited to new games. I'm always interested to see it. I think the reality is that they'll always, look at Eve and these other big franchises games that have been here for a long time. The truth is, if you build a really great game that has, like you said, longevity and has the core bits and the elements and stuff that blows people away, you will, and you keep adding to it and developing and building, it'll just constantly grow and it'll always be there. And these games can kind of fill in the gaps. But like I said, I always like to show other games. I'm always talking about other games. I think it's important that we as gamers talk about other games.
I mean, the panel that I was linking to there, I've just put the link in chat for anybody who wants to watch it. I think you skip to 2 hours in, it'll tell you. I think that's where they started about the space talk. But it if you're interested in like the history of the space games, that's what it was basically about. It was an hour-long panel, and they went through the different where space games began, where they got their influences from, where Star Citizen kind of sits within all that, and then that's why this one came up then with space games in the future, basically. But Captain Richard said himself it wasn't a full list. He said there was just too many games to list on every single slide. So these were like some of the big ones.
This
What
one
was
here,
the first
boys and
space
girls.
game that you guys got in contact with personally?
I
What was
think
the
my
first
dad.
space
So
game that
from
you
the
guys
panel
got
thing, I think my dad, or I'm sure he played Elite. I don't think I actually got to play that. So I know the first main space game I got, which was on the list, was the Privateer: The Darkening 2. Privateer 2, I think it's called. With all the movie sound clips and Clive Owen in and all that. I think that was my first one. That's the one I remember most.
Madness.
Sorry, I'm just telling. I'll type in, but I'm not going to type. I'm just going to say, by the way, thank you for all the hosts, follows, subs, whatever anyone's been doing this evening, bits, etc. Thank you guys.
Like talking to a brick wall.
We have to mute. I unfortunately have to mute it so that we can continue with the show. I do apologize, Sol. Sorry, I was just typing just to tell people because a lot of people have followed and things like that, and I don't want them to think that we don't. It's not important. It's very important. We thank you very much. I thank you personally. The show thanks you. Love you guys. Thank you so much.
My mum thanks you.
Just unfortunately, we have to mute you.
I want to thank my mom, my dad, the dog.
Just want to thank you guys. Thank you, everyone. Yeah, no, for sure. I just don't want you to guys feel, it's greatly appreciated. Thank you guys. Love you guys.
Bio, you at least.
Sorry, Saul. What did you say? Repeat it very quickly.
It's too late now.
Okay.
Bio.
Yes.
So, what was the first space game that you got in contact with? I'll do you afterwards, Madness.
The very first space game I've ever played. I'm just trying to think on the top of my head, really. I played Elite Dangerous. I haven't really been into space games until more recently. I first heard about Star Citizen, and then I kind of looked at things that are like Star Citizen, and then it came up with Elite Dangerous, and I was able to play at that point. So I played Elite Dangerous for a long time, and then when Star Citizen was able to play, I just cracked on with it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I think the first space game that I was, it's a very late one. It's one of the most recent Star Wars MMOs ones. I don't know what it's called, Knights of the Old Republic or something.
Oh yeah,
like
I played that as well. Yeah.
Republic, yeah.
But before that, I wasn't into space games at all. So I'm for me as a very MMO heavy guy coming from the fantasy MMO is what I played a lot. It's the RPG kind of running around with sword and shield and bashing dwarves' heads in or something like that. That's what I really like. So it was really interesting that Star Citizen really grabbed my attention on the space thingy. I really like that. It brought me into new waves. Madness, you're dying to tell us what was the first space game that you got.
I realized this when you asked me this question. I realized that I'm actually probably the oldest on this panel.
You are the oldest here, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, not
But you look the
about
youngest.
a year, isn't it?
You look the
about a year.
youngest.
The very first space game I played was Space Invaders.
Yeah, I did play Space Invaders and
Madness is of that
Asteroids as well. I forgot
But
that
I
it
would
wasn't my
say-
influential one.
I would say the most influential one was X-Wing versus TIE Fighter for space games. In terms of that kind of like combat kind of genre would be X-Wing versus TIE Fighter. I loved that game a lot. And then it was Wing Commander. But I'm not one of those Wing Commander early generation, unfortunately. I am the pleb, my dad, that got Wing Commander Prophecy, which was the later ones, which is the one everyone thinks is shit. But that was the one that I ended up playing. And I quite enjoyed it because I didn't have any reference to it. But I like that. And then I was playing a lot of the Jedi, the old Jedi games and the Force things. And
You are also lucky.
Jedi Academy.
Jedi, yeah, the original Jedi stuff. The ones which were really good, which had the video.
What's that game? Was it called Star Fox? That old game?
Star Fox, yeah.
Yeah, I remember
didn't have
that. Yeah,
Nintendo, so I didn't play it. My mate
that
had
was
it.
brilliant. I
My
loved
mate
that
had it.
game.
The funny thing I got from that panel was they was talking about all the games that Chris Roberts had done, and the one that I really liked, which was the Privateer: The Darkening one. It was the one he didn't actually work on, and it was his brother. I was like, great, okay. So out of all the games, it's like, yeah, I really like the one his brother made. So.
That's the same for me. I'm like, literally, I like Wing Commander. I played Wing Commander Prophecy, the one that he didn't work on, and that was the one that everyone thinks is the shittest of all the Wing Commander.
Probably
games.
why you're not enjoying this.
Probably, yeah. Salty bastard. No,
It's interesting to see though that you guys' dads got you into these games. My dad only knows how eBay works. You know what I mean?
My dad got me into
Well, you know what my dad's
and his
like, so
email,
you've
that-
met him.
that is
Well,
what he
not
can
met
do.
him, but
My dad got me into sci-fi through Star Trek. Every lunchtime, I would be sat watching literally, like my mum would have to make sure dinner was sorted before the Next Generation came on TV, because that was it. Like if the dinner wasn't finished already, that would be it. Like, all right, love, I'm out. I'm gonna go watch Star Trek. We'd all just descend upon the living room to watch the Next Generation, and that was my. I mean, my dad loves obviously the original Star Trek as well, which he showed me. But my education to sci-fi was Star Trek Next Generation, watching it as a family. after food, with pudding in my hand, watching it with apple pie and custard. It was brilliant, and I loved it, and I love it, and I'm really enjoying the new Star Trek. I don't know if anyone's seen the new Discovery.
Brilliant! It's
very
brilliant.
much enjoying it. I like the new
Which
angle
one?
on it. The new one, the Discovery. It was really
Discovery.
good.
Have you been watching the Orville?
And I have watched the Orville as well, and I've enjoyed that too. I've enjoyed them both.
Good.
I think they're both good in their way. I mean, whether you like Seth MacFarlane's humor or not, I think he's very faithful, and he loves obviously Star Trek, so he really tries to do the best he can with.
Seth MacFarlane is a good lad. I think.
So it's good. It's funny. But yeah, the new Discovery, I like it. It's Star Trek. It's new. It's a new idea. It's a totally fresh take on it, and whether you like it or hate it, I like it.
It's like little mini movies.
It's Star
isn't
Trek
it?
again. Yeah, it's just Star Trek again. Bit too much lens flare for me, but other than that, it's good.
You should be used to it now with your Gladius.
That's true. Not yet. I haven't got 3.0 yet, mate. When I get 3.0, then I'll be used to lens flares and being completely blinded by cockpits. Right, moving on. We've had a lovely trip down memory lane, and I've sent everyone to sleep. Let's go to so happy hour. Thank fuck it was only 30 minutes is written in chat. By the way, I love reading out the comments because we all write little comments like next to things, like on our things. So like,
don't read this out. Is that what I've got to put next time?
I've got, what did I have written up here? I got something. Oh, hang on. And my ATV one is later, which is brilliant. We'll read that one, but it's something along the line was, thank God it was only 20 minutes. Who gives a fuck about why things were delayed? Who cares? Some people would like to know, but I don't know who those crazy people are. It's like we have all these wonderful annotations just to make each other laugh. So just a little bit for you guys. So what is on at CitizenCon? Oh, is that the one? Yeah, okay, so here we go. Let me just bring it up.
For all the viewers, you think you endure assault. We endure the document with even more assault. Especially when Madness is doing the very action.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, I do like to.
He doesn't read out half of it what he writes in there.
No, I don't. It's,
we don't allow him. We delete it. We delete it before he can tell us.
Okay, so this is for you guys. So you guys are going, the 3 lucky gits here that get to go. So I think I'm going to be hosting the Addicted podcast on my own probably next week or whatever it is. You're all going to be so hungover and tired.
Get feed from our Skype.
Yes. No, it's. Actually, that's the great thing is I'm looking forward to finding out all about it and watching you guys doing, having a great time. It's going to be great. So the first time is CitizenCon opening address, Chris Roberts. Then you got enhancing mocap procedural systems. So this enhancing mocap, are you guys? So who does any of you getting scanned? None of you guys got scanned.
Oh fuck that!
We all got rejected.
That's because you guys aren't partnered streamers.
I said to the guys, I need about $200 for you to scan my face, but they didn't want to cooperate.
So who do we know who has been guaranteed given the opportunity to have their face scanned?
Supermac.
Those 2 people that are shaving children. Yeah.
So Supermac, Gamble.
Those 2 plebs.
Is DJ Knight
I
being
think they
given?
felt sorry for them really. So it was like, okay, we'll
going?
scan these. They need some tramps, don't they? So
do we know if DJ Knight's going to get his face scanned, or is he going? Because he normally goes, doesn't he, DJ?
I think Mitachi is going.
Mitachi, is he getting his face scanned? Is he being accepted?
No, the system wasn't big enough.
The only 2 that I know is I know a third, but if they're not revealing it, I don't know if we should.
Okay, no, we won't
announce
say
it. So I know Mac and Gamble are the only 2 I know.
Is Meyer allowed to keep the cap on? The red cap?
That would be good.
Probably not.
So basically, the panel at Gamescom are going to be scanned then.
Are you implying something?
I'm implying nothing. My lips are sealed. I'm not saying anything about underhanded kind of behavior. I'm just curious that. So basically, the Gamescom people will obviously be scanned. Then Mac's going to be scanned. And I'm wondering if there's any randomers. Do you think they maybe drag a couple people off the street in? Maybe a couple fans will get like golden tickets.
What the fuck?
What do you think?
I think we mean they just got.
They should have done golden tickets. They should have done if you buy, an $850 ship, there's the chance. There's the chance that you could get your golden ticket to Gamescom, all included, golden ticket, flights,
help you out of that
face scanned. You're in. Do you know what
If
I
you
mean?
buy the javelin, you get instant access.
I'll
don't
help you out of that dream. I've heard a story from someone that a guy that
There is
invested
randomness.
like
Max,
10,
like the randomness.
I heard a story about a guy that invested 10K in the game and basically couldn't play 3.0 on the last Gamescom, and he was pissed about it, and he tried to sneak his way into playing it by saying, "Oh, I spent 10 grand on the game," and he didn't give a flying fuck. So probably there's no we're all backers if we back
just
for
need to suck.
tenner or if we backed for 10K, you know what I mean? And I don't think they make a difference in any of that, you know.
Well, I mean, I applied to be scanned in, and CRG were very polite. They wrote back an email, and they said, "Sadly, Madness, we already have a salt dispenser in the game. We don't need you or your face in the game anymore." So I was like, "Oh, thanks, guys. That's really kind of you." But no, I mean, it sounds like it's going to be quite fun. You know, the guys are going to have to sit for a couple hours, like with like full
Sit down for a couple of
spandex, full spandex. And they have to sit really still, and they're going to have like the things whirling around them
You
or
wouldn't
something.
have a size spandex for me anyway, man.
And they have to wear like a condom on their head. I mean, they should get tips from Jester because he's always wearing that black condom on top of his head, which is always quite funny.
What we need to do is make sure we can get in the booth when they're doing it, so we can take pictures whilst they're sat there.
Yeah, it would be quite funny.
that's
I mean,
gonna
I
be a
think
thing.
it would be it would definitely be an experience. I think it would be fun. It's a shame that they don't let more people. I mean, I'd be curious to know how many people they're allowing to do it. I would love
10.
to.
No pigs
I
allowed.
did
So they're
try
doing
to drop
10
Addicted
10
podcast, but they didn't. invite me
10
that
people, and we've
Yeah,
got
10 people, I believe
Maya,
it is, yeah.
Gamble, Mac. So that's 3. So we're already at 3. So we've got 7 people. We already know one other person
You
who's
can do
probably
maths.
is probably. No, I'm curious to know how they select these. I want to know who these selected people are. I want to understand the process of the selection process, because I'm curious, like how of the 10 people that are selected already, we have
man,
3
this
people are
is
streamers.
above your IQ grade, man.
4 people are streamers. So already half of the 10 people are streamers, potentially.
You can't count then. If 3 out of 10 is half.
No, we know 4, isn't it? 4 was, or unless we've already announced one. But I'm just saying 4. Let's just say 4, 5 people.
Yeah, but that's still not half. 4 is. No, 5 is half, but
I
not
don't
4.
give a fuck whose faces are in that game as long as they can play the damn game. I don't give a flying fuck.
Let's find out.
Anyway,
No, but I'm going to have to make my face. I'm going to be building my face, and then all of a sudden I'm going to see Mac. And I'm just going to be like, what's happened?
I just
It's all
can't wait
gone
to
wrong.
see. I can't wait to see what faces they put on.
I mean, it's all gone wrong.
their
Gamble and Max, baby. What's
Ugh.
happened? What's
Listen,
happened?
as long as you don't have to watch biomechanical space all day, who gives a fuck? Who's in the fucking game?
No, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great that they're, all joking aside, I think it's great that they're engaging us, getting people in, enabling.
All joking aside, I hope
people to
they
get in
pick
the
some
game.
females.
Yeah, well,
Well, there's no female character.
there's no female characters yet. So.
characters that don't need
Next
You're
year,
working
next
on
year.
it
So
right.
next year,
You're
you
working on it
could put your face in for the female character if you want. That would be fine.
Me, an ugly fucking female. I'm ugly enough as it is as a man. Stand alone as a fucking female.
Put you in for a Banu face. How's that sound?
They will name you Beatrice.
Look at the hair.
One of those Xeon. One of the
Jesus. Oh, what a laugh! What a laugh! Honestly,
I do think this is going to be like kind of a test bed, and I hope that they plan to bring it to other events. And I don't think this is going to be the only time they're going to scan people, because like we were talking about this in front of this like display earlier with Mac. That's basically, they're going to want as many NPCs as they can, and by getting them to look varied and stuff like that, then the more people they can scan, the better.
Do you reckon they're still going to grab people and ask? Even
grab people.
No,
Just
no.
come up to you.
having a discussion
Hey,
with Madness
you're
about
handsome.
it.
Shaved? You're shaved.
No, they've got a waiting list as well. So
Do you think they'll have people there to shave people, like to groom them before they get? Do you know what I mean? There'll be like someone there.
Start bringing
having
out
to-
cheap razors. Come here.
Do you know what? You're not
condom in his
shaved
hand.
enough, Mac. We're gonna have to wax that. Niz is gonna be like laughing in the background. Miggs comes out with like his plastic gloves, ready to go.
I'll wax Mac on the day.
Guys, in how much fidelity do you want yourself in the game? And I gave the example. We had a chat about it off stream. I think
I don't want to be in the game.
where we were
I
talking.
don't think anybody wants you in the game.
Where we were talking about Remember, we were talking about NBA 2K the other day, and where I said, "Oh, you can do a 20 picture scan around your face, and they put your face in the game as well," which I think was you look like fucking me, the guy in the game. Do I care that it's not every wrinkle and every fat nose or whatever that I have, and it's just a general overview, or do I want that top fidelity of having everyone in the game with every birthmark or whatever what they have? You know what I mean? How far do you want to go in that? You know what I mean? And then you have the people that play the game as something else. So you have a lot of people that play MMOs that want to reflect something else.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Bio's always making his characters much better looking than him. I mean, I'm
it's not hard.
It's not hard.
we constantly have to try and make this whole panel probably needs to make their characters more attractive. Let's be honest. That's why I play as a female character because
that's why you will play as a female.
I'm happy with 20 pictures of my face like I did it in NBA, where it just puts that on a generic body. You know what I mean?
The problem is,
I would be happy with that.
But the problem is, it's not to do with what you would prefer. It's the fact that it's got to fit in with the fidelity of the rest of the game. If the rest of the
that's what I'm saying. The face
Sorry.
has a standard build-up, Miz. You know what I mean? In UK, all the faces have a similar build, only they have a different skin over it because everyone looks different. You know what I mean? And they're really good at it. You know, with all skin tones and that sort of thing. So they've done really well in that. So I think that's enough fucking fidelity for me. You know.
Yeah, again, this all comes down to like we saw a little bit of how they're going to do like the customization, the character building. It looks like it's going to be very robust and incredibly detailed. So, I'm genuinely quite excited about making my female character as attractive as possible. I always like to try and make them as beautiful female characters because
looking at his own ass all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're just going to stare. You're not going to get anything done in the game, are you? Just literally going to be there for hours.
I did in Eve. I spent all my time. I made my character in Eve like smoking hot, and I literally just spent most of my time just chatting to my character in the game, and when we were in the kind of the lobby and just in the bar. I was just like, "How you doing? Yeah, looking good. Looking good today."
So, Captain Cat saying about the facial hair because everybody's got to be shaved. Will there be no facial hair? And I think what's happening is, so they've talked about the character creation a while back, and the plan is meant to be that to make your character, what you'll do is you'll grab different parts of people's scans and scanned-in faces to make your own character. So it might be eyes from one person, a nose from somebody else, and they're just going to have a database full of all different eyes, all different mouths, and everything else. So part of the reason they've got no beard on there is because they want to scan and have the mouth without the beard. And I think that will probably be something that can be added at a later date. It may well be to do with procedurally adding it on somehow by the map of the face, I think. But it's just so they can give more body parts. Because I think that's basically what they're using. Yeah, don't worry about it.
It's gone. I don't know where he's gone. I think he's disconnected.
I think he's in the background. Yeah, he's getting changed.
Oh, he's gone from yours. He hasn't actually. Oh, he might have turned his own camera off because. No, he hasn't. I can see him.
No, anyway. he just slowed out of the view.
Sure.
No, well,
yeah.
Okay. Sorry, guys. Sorry, we just like his soul's just decided to vanish. You know, done his vanishing trick. But yeah, no. But the facial stuff they will add in, but they need they need the clearest. They need the clean. Just get the crap out of me, Soul. They need the clean. Don't they? They need the clean face to do everything to build on, right?
Yeah.
I guess it's a lot easier.
And it could also be down to the fact that they're using this like mobile rig as well, so it might not have the ability to scan to the same detail as what they would normally use in their own studios as well.
I mean, they're really great tools for building 3D hair and stuff anyway. I don't know if, that you can do. So I don't think it's that much of a challenge to... It's like, that's just an additional layer at the end of the day. So you want to get to the base layer first and then add to the layers later,
Yeah, but I mean, if they scanned you with your beard on, then the only way to have had that face would be to have that beard. Or if you wanted a beard, you would be stuck with that person's beard. So that's why they want just the basic face. And then they can add to that later, depending on what you swap around.
Yeah. It's understandable they want people to shave off because there's people like me who can't even have a beard. So.
but that's how they built the faces.
Well, not well.
And we want to do that. What's it called? The face mixing thing that they do. So you want to be able to mix all the faces together to create random faces and stuff.
It's a slap in the face for the whole Star Citizen
Like
stream.
genetics random. I can't remember what it was like
90%
months
consists out
and
of
months
muted
ago. They called it like DNA blending or something, like some sort of where the idea is the algorithm can build faces based on all the different people's faces and make it make sense and look attractive to a degree. Good. All right. Next, moving on. Happy hour, beyond the editing, tech lumberyard. Let's go back to it again. Sorry, this is because we were going through it. So this is CitizenCon. So they're going to be going through enhancing mocap. They got the graphics in the tech team for the StarEngine. That sounds like it'll be really boring, but probably informative. And then we've got the Xion history, philosophy, and language.
Looking forward to that.
So that will be interesting to see. I'm sure we're going to get.
So they did say. I think there's going to be some new reveals, new updates to the artwork for all them and everything as well.
Well, I learned some of that language.
And then we've got the art and the tech of Stanton. So that, for me, I'm just saying, for me personally, the graphics and the tech development won't be that interesting because I struggle with that side of things. But for other people, it'll be great. But the art and the tech stuff, for me as an arty person, that'll be interesting and really cool to watch. And then we've got does anyone know if this is all going to be live, by the way?
Yes.
It's all going to be live. So this will all be live streamed.
The whole thing's going to be live, isn't it?
Well, no, the booths probably won't be.
That's what I'm wondering if the panels and the booth, all this. The
panels are, because I think this is all from the main stage, but there's going to be 5 presentations. Well, these are the 5 presentations, but there's going to be other booths around, which I don't think will be live streamed, unless they might walk around and show some of them. I don't know.
Oh, do you know what? Honestly, this does, these days, I don't know about you guys in chat and stuff, but I mean, it does get me excited. Honestly, I do get really excited. It's like a whole afternoon and evening of Star Citizen of just being able to just mash, and whether it's good or not is at the end of the day, at the end of it, I can go, well, that was a fucking waste of time. But I'm still excited to see stuff. And then at the end of the day, we've got the consolidated Outland Pioneer, 7:30. So we get to finally see it. We're going to get to finally see what this game changer is finally all about. And I'm sure, like we say, it'll all be what we expect it to be.
Stop hearing people say the game changer.
The game changer. God, yeah.
We haven't fed up listening to that over and over again.
And then we have the keynote address at 9:00. So I'm really interested to see what that's going to be. So that's basically
the main presentation. That is the
with the game changer, guys. What patch do you reckon? Should we have a guess when we reckon it's going to be in?
No.
I stopped guessing.
What's the point of that?
It's just like we've done the question before about when we thought 3.0 was going to come out.
There's one thing I guess. I guess that Chris Roberts changes his mind. That's probably what's going to happen.
By the time it goes into the patch, they're actually going to scrap the game changer because it no longer functions as they wanted it to. So it won't make it.
Yeah, that's true.
Chris Roberts is loading all the money in a rocket and flying to the moon by that time.
With the likes of when's mining coming in? 3.1 or 3.2?
It's supposed to be 3.1.
So in theory, the Orion should be dropping in around 3.1.
I think we will only see the smaller one. What's it called again? Prospect. I think that's the first thing we're going to see. Because you're looking at the Orion, you're looking at an industrial scale of mining.
Yeah, well, here's my thing then. So so let's just say the 3.1 patch initially drops and it gives you the Prospector. No problem. Let's look at the time frame it's taken between patches in this year as an example, and we can judge the other ones as well. Let's just say it's a minimum of 6 months a patch. Who's to say with the Delta patcher now? I mean, I know they're not going to do it. I know they can't do it, but I'm just saying. Maybe
Sherman is going to tell you off now. You know
could they build a medium-sized mining ship between that period of time and drop it in the patch? Do you think? Because at the end of the day, we still haven't got 3.0, so they're still working on 3.1. So who's to say that they haven't already built a medium-sized, bigger size between a Because it goes literally. Does it go like Prospector and then it goes Orion?
I think so.
That's a huge fucking gap of a spaceships. That's like literally there's one seater spaceship that does mining and then there's a fucking capital ship that does mining. It's not like there's suddenly there's a medium-sized mining ship that has 5 or 6 people on board that can kind of do different things. It's like here's one and then there's one with 15 people. I don't know the Ryan. I have to read the stats. It's a capital ship. It's like there's literally small. There's no medium. There's no large. It goes small. and then, or even snub size, it goes small, and then it goes straight to capital. It's like literally that's a very large gap in the middle for mining.
I wouldn't worry too much. There will be more shit. There's always.
But it's like if that's the mining patch. This is the kind of like my thing. If that's the mining patch, then you'd want to by the end of the mining patch, by the Delta patcher, surely you'd want to have implemented. Maybe I'm just putting it out there. It's just ideas. You know, maybe by the end of that patch.
It's just a patch that will include the first iteration of mining, which will be.
Okay, so you think
we're not getting patches like that. Well, this is the transport patch. This is the cargo patch. It's just everything's a first iteration, and everything will start on smaller scale. The same way as we'll be able to load your cargo into the back of a freelancer. You're not going to go straight away and get a whole E and load up 20 million fucking crates worth of.
Okay, so on that, what you're saying, and this is just, I'm just clarifying. I'm just like talking there. So if you get to, by the time we get to 4.0, we will have the equivalent of 1.0 of all of the main kind of like, I guess you say professions. So the first iteration of all the professions, by the time you get to 4.0, all the professions iterations will be in the game and their first iteration.
Don't know, maybe. Hopefully.
And then by 4.0, then we'll be moving into, it'll be like a recycle again. So we'll say, okay, now we're going to go into cargo ships 2.0. And then it'll be cargo ship 2.0, mining 2.0, thingy 2.0, 2.0, 2.0. And then it'll go into, then it will be like, by the time you get to whatever 8.0, it will be, then we're going into mining 3.0 or whatever, you know? And then it's like, now we have the large mining ship, because from what I understand is, does it work like that? I'm just curious. What you guys think.
Well, you're just speculating a load of bullshit.
You're just talking and talking and
really speculating.
Well,
and
no, it's because it's like there's a difference between maybe learning how to mine with a prospector that does simple basic mining on a small asteroid to a great big massive industrial scale for the Orion, compared to cargo runs, which you've got to load up a tiny little ship with some cargo, and even a huge cargo hauler would still probably not take as long to develop loading that up as it would working on a capital ship and how that would mine. So I don't think it's quite as obviously linear as just, we're going to go the second iteration, third iteration of everything. Some things will be easier to develop to a more complicated or a bigger scale than others.
I was wondering if you think it'll be very linear, I guess, or if it will be very, it'll just be as and when they kind of feel that the gear is ready.
It's always been when it's ready, isn't it?
Well,
it's the wisest thing you said all podcast.
Is it though? Is the Starfire ready?
No.
You know, is the Herald ready? It's ready, but is all the mechanics in ready? Is the Saber
we're talking
really,
about the mechanics?
As a stealth
will come in 3.0,
really
but it won't be ready.
Yeah, the Prospector's coming in 3.0.
Exactly. Is the Prospector ready in 3.0 where you've got mining? No. That's all I'm saying. It's not.
Originally, it was going to be, but then they pushed it back. Then
that's my only kind of like. Anyway, I was just
because it's not ready.
Just spitting a bit of bullshit there, guys. a bit of bullshit. I do apologize.
Listen, man, there's only one thing I can say to that: use your imagination.
Use your imagination. All right. Okay. Sure.
Magic.
I've got pretty good imagination. We'll move on from the. I'm curious to know what the keynote is going to be. They're going to be. I guess the keynote is going to be about exploring planets. I'm expecting to see more procedural planet stuff. Do you guys? I mean, would you agree? I mean, I'm very excited about procedural planets. I'm hoping we'll see procedural cities.
I would like to see some planets, yeah, but not just the moons. It would be nice to start seeing some fauna and trees and shit like that. But I don't know if we will, because I don't know if they want to.
We'll see aliens, more alien.
We're going to see some yarn, aren't we?
More of the bugs. You know, I'm thinking more of the insectoids and.
Oh, you mean animal creature type?
More animal planets on the planets. Do you think we'll see a bit more of the kind of that kind of thing?
Well, they're scanning in Sergeant Gamble and Super Max, so the aliens are coming in soon. You know what I
mean? Woo, touche! Shots fired. I mean, I would like to see. I mean, everyone talks about the procedural, like the planet side of things as well. But I still remember this game was originally a space sim game, so I would like to see more of the space stations. And I'd like to see.
I think
more
I
of-
triggered Gamble there.
I'd like to see more.
I would actually just like to see some more of the mechanics working. You know, what
I like
we're
to
talking
s-
about. Would like
I'd
to
like
see
to-
the mechanics.
Mechanics, yeah. I definitely want to see like the salvage mechanics. I'd love to see that. Want to see that reclaimer actual arm, the huge dong that sits underneath it, actually doing what it's supposed to do.
Swing. You want to see it
Working
swing.
rather
When
than
it's
just
singing,
sitting
it
there.
come round and just grab.
You know,
yeah.
there's nothing worse than having something massive and it just doesn't work. Do you know what I mean?
Story of
It's
your life.
kind of pointless. Do you know
Not
what I
about
mean?
the
It's just
size, man. It's about what
dead, massive thing that does
The
nothing.
motion in the ocean.
You know,
It's all about the
it's,
motion
it's,
in the
it's all about the performance, baby. So yeah, I mean, yes, I agree with you, Miz. Totally. I want to see more mechanics. I'd love to see more of this, the NPCs. I want to see more of the AI tech. I'd love them to show us the AI tech on the NPCs and how they're going to make it so that because at the end of the day, we're talking about empty verses here. The NPCs are going to be.
Yeah, you've always gone about bringing life, haven't you?
to fill the life into the game.
Life.
It's got to be the NPCs, man.
I gave up on that for a while, but it's
It's back coming back.
It's coming back.
It's coming back again. It has its periods, you know what I mean?
But yeah, and like I said, I'd like to see Microtech. I'd like to see another, like a city and procedural tech. And
They did an episode of AtV especially for Madness last week, all about cockpits.
They did.
Maybe they're
Everybody
thinking
was
about you. They're
pissing.
listening
Everyone was
to you.
terrified. These guys were all terrified. They were all just like, they literally sending me
my
messages
God.
like Madness, like, I don't know what's going to
Oh,
happen.
I think it was
the Gladius cockpit. Everyone was just absolutely terrified that I was just going to be
It
like,
was Sherman going to Sandy saying,
salt.
we need an episode about cockpits just to scare all the guys. You know?
I honestly, that would be one of my questions if I was on the panel. I would be like, so, okay, guys, between you and me, imagine there's nobody here. Which fucker fucked up the Gladius cockpit? Come on, own up now. Who thought, which one of you smart Alex thought it was a great idea that animations that blind a person when they're shooting at somebody is a good thing? Come on, which one of you guys would be like, no, it was him. No, it was him.
It was probably none of them, Madness. It was a panel about creating a game
50-word response.
I probably had a work experience bloke come in. This would be cool if you make the gun go round and we can all see it.
Blind you. We'll solve the problem by making a holographic radar in the middle, which still shows you the animation with the bright, blinding light that completely disorientates the radar.
Remember what they said.
I'm sorry.
Not being allowed to sit on the front row with CitizenCon.
But they have salvaged the situation a little bit. You know, we do have the track IR, which enables you to be able to see the two HUDs down at the bottom as well. So it gives you a bit more visibility with all the whole.
You're just going to constantly fly looking down.
And they have built in the. We now have the. We do actually have at least a radar of some kind. Just can't fire your gun because you can't see anything. And we do have size 3s on the wings now, boys. So size 3 hard points on the wings is going to make the Gladius a bit better. They just need to work on the fuel. And actually talking about because we're talking about ships, and we now know about the stage 2. Actually, we're going to go into it now because we're going to go into Burndown now. We're going to go into ATV. So actually, we can talk about it. We'll talk about it a little bit here now. So we've got the Burndown, and we're going to lead. It's actually perfect. It leads into it beautifully here, lads. Beautifully. So Burndown. What a pile of shit. Literally 20 fucking minutes of
I'm not part of this.
garbage. Like you could have, all you needed to know at the beginning was, guys, last week we had 23 bugs. This week we had 25 bugs. It's worse than it was last week.
Hey, people have been making videos on this stuff, so it's good.
I was like, wow. I mean, okay, some people want to know. Like, this is what I said in chat. Like, some people want to know what those bugs were. That's fine. Go ahead. But can you just like do it on a side letter to them? Like ATV this week, I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. They could have covered ATV like probably Noobifire and Board Gamer did in about 5 minutes. It was literally it was 40 minutes of shit. In terms of like repetition, like I was told like 20 times, like the legacy armor is legacy armor. I was like, I know what fucking legacy means. I know this is old armor. Anyone watching the show knows by the first 5 minutes it's old armor. And then the Burndown was just like, honestly, if I want to watch The Office, I'll go watch the TV show The Office. I really don't need to see that. Sorry, anyway, that's my little rant on it. But
I enjoyed it.
Really,
I leave you guys. You guys talk to these guys why it's good. I'm going.
I have to agree, Bio, with Madness in some sort of way that I think, information-wise, this was one of the worst weeks.
It did
ATV,
seem rushed as well.
Happy hour, for us as a community. I don't know how you guys feel about it. I'm not as salty about it as Madness is. Don't get me wrong, because I don't care really. But it was a weird week information-wise.
Yeah, because there was there was that guy in there was just randomly started repeating himself about if you press shift, it just kept crashing, and he said it about 5-6 times, and it just looked like they couldn't think of anything to fit in that burn down, so they just shoved him in there just for the hell of it.
Well, don't forget they also said that it's the same as when we was coming up to Gamescom. The more attention was built on getting the presentations ready, building up these panels, getting what they're going to show off at Gamescom, and it's the same for this.
It's always like that, to be honest.
Everything goes a bit quiet. They got much more important things to do than to sit there and tell us
I totally
a little bit of an update.
Don't get me wrong, but that makes it for me think why do an ATV then just not do it and focus on these things? And I think it's a good thing, man. But we see it every year that it goes down a bit, but it seemed worse than previous years.
I don't know why they make it such a big episode. They could have just done a shortened version like they've done before.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
They could have just explained at the start.
It's difficult because they're damned if they do and they're damned if they don't a lot of the time, though, because people demand more information constantly. They just want to know it. I want to know what every bug is. I want to know why. And then there's a big chunk of people that don't. And realistically, we sit for it because we're trying to do things for the show. But if you don't like it, it's not that difficult. You just skip through it a bit till you do want to see some. You could have no information whatsoever. What difference would it have made?
We'll fill 4 hours with shit anyway on a Monday evening if you do it.
Exactly, we manage it. I mean, we talk shit for fucking.
We got Madness
many hours. So what's the difference? You could probably condense ours down into a 5-minute show.
What are we talking about?
Well, we were saying why didn't they do less of a show and not try to fill the normal amount
They've done
of
it before.
time?
They've done it before. They've done 20-minute episodes before. I honestly don't understand why. That was literally a 20-minute episode. And if it was going to be split into 2 parts about the legacy armor or whatever they're doing for the armor, they could have made it 10 minutes for the burn down, and then they could have made it 30-40 minutes for a full
Sandy, sort
armor.
this shit out so we don't have to copy and paste that many streamables. Just fit it in
I
20
genuinely
minutes. It's perfect.
if you're going to do it, I don't know who was editing it. I just felt honestly, I was watching that first. It was just
Lando edits that stuff, right?
And if you guys disagree with me, that's completely fine. You're entitled. We're all entitled to our opinion. For me personally, it's a pile of shit, and I just want to get the studio report back. The studio.
Nexus has an answer for you, man.
Yeah, what's he saying?
It's a 20-minute episode if you watch it on 2 times.
Thank you. That's the answer right there. Holy shit, that's what I need to do.
There we go.
That's the answer right there. So anyway, so burn down. Okay, I'm just gonna go through it. So.
Just skip. Why go through something that there's nothing to talk about? Just skip
there is.
down.
There
go
is
to
one
the
thing.
ATV bit.
No, there is.
Okay, we'll talk about the one thing then.
No, there's
a saber cockpit change.
There's kind of 2 things. I'm salty.
You're dragging out the shit bit for longer than it needs.
2-stage afterburner. There's a second stage now, so they're changing things. So we had cruise control. Was in 2.5 and stuff like that. So we had cruise control before. At the end of the day, for the guys that are playing Ivocati or whatever, from what I understand, leaks, etc. We want to say the reality is you get a Comorane, and you want to land on a planet. It's going to take you 10 minutes to fly to it because shit takes a long time. So they need to figure out a way to ramping up speed. So they've come up with this system before, which was cruise control, which we all know about, which is a bit like decoupled mode. Just stick your shit to afterburner, maximum speed, and it will get you there. Whereas they got rid of it. It wasn't really working. So now they've done this thing where you're effectively, it's slowing down your ship. So now ships are actually going to be slower from the first things I've seen. Okay, this is a little bit of spoiler, leaky shit. Okay, so I read up on this. The other guys can't say. Miz probably can't say anything. But there's a debate. They're slowing down some of the ships, for example, a little bit. But they're dialing up the afterburner second stage. So you get up to these top speeds, and then I believe the idea of this is so some of these massive capital ships you can have maybe a 3rd stage afterburner, which then means you can get even faster with these massive ships, which I think is kind of seems appropriate, right? Because if you've got a massive ship, you're gonna have a massive engine. You should be able to get up to a bigger.
You can have a bit more boost.
So we're going on to the questions for today, everyone. So
That was
Questions? Put them in chat.
I just like threw everyone out there.
No, I'm just.
it's like a new cruise thing,
questions,
isn't it?
Yeah,
That's what he's talking about, isn't it?
it is a new. It's a new cruise, and it's. I'm kind of nervous about it in terms of
Saying any
from
more
a
than that.
combat side. If it's going to turn combat into fighting heralds all day long, where people just kind of slap it into burner 2, burner 3, and just boom and zoom all day long. So until I see it, I don't know. But I think it's it sounds interesting. It sounds like it's going to be. I mean, they've obviously had problems with it not working because it's a new system, flight mechanic. So it's been delaying the bugs. The whole point. They said it in ATV in the burn down because it was causing them problems. This new system, which makes sense because it's a new system. So, but it got me thinking, and like having spoken to a few people and seen some of the leaks and things that we're not supposed to see and read up on, but I do read up on them. It just got me thinking that will I like it? And I was just curious if other people think I think it sounds like it makes sense.
You probably won't like it. Come on.
No, it makes sense.
There'll be something.
It makes sense. Do I think it's going to be the final iteration? No, but it kind of makes sense the way that they're trying to do it and dialing up the speed. And I can imagine it being a real headache trying to figure out how to do it. How do you make it so that people can get to locations at a reasonable time? Jump to them? I mean, you're going to be able to, because at the end of the day, can we jump to planets? Does anyone know?
Hyperdrive more.
Or do we jump to
in between jumping and normal speed? I think I don't know how to call it in ED and in Hellion. It's more of like a state in between a hyperdrive or something like that. That makes you speed up, but not to the speed of where you're going to the next planet or whatever. But a stage in between. I think that's what it hopefully will be. But you can't always, coming back on what you say, that intertwined with fighting. I guess when you're fighting, you can't really use that. Maybe that might be an option to do that.
I think you have to be able to use all the momentum and all the parts of the game that are there. So the fact that they're dialing it into the afterburner, and then they'll be keeping the quantum jump, that's separate. The quantum drive, that's separate to the afterburner. So at the end of the day, there's one mechanic for flying when you're not in that, and then there's one mechanic for jumping,
Yeah, and in ED they have like that you need to reload your hyperdrive, so the aggressor might have time to kill you before you try to jump again, so you can instantly use it again. There's a time that it has to load it up again, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'm all for, and I've said this before, and I've said it on my stream, and many people that watch me on stream know this about me, is like, I personally, there's two mechanics that I would like in this game as quickly as possible. One is the ability to give money to other people, and the other one is to be able to disable ships from shooting them, damage them, so they become carcasses that float in space. So the pilot has a choice.
Giving people money when you can't spend it.
No, the point is that you have to make shit. We make shit. You give you money. No, what? Sorry, you raised the third point, which was buying ships. Actually, you raised the point, which was buying ships. That was the third bit. Sorry, you're right. It was three things. It was that, and it was the other one was to be able to buy ships in game. And that gives you then the reason why then you transfer money, then people can then buy shit and makes it worthwhile then the commerce. But the other thing was if you transfer money, you can then do things because it's like you can give somebody something. It's like, hey, you've helped me out, and I give you money and stuff. You can create.
Yeah, thank you for doing that mission with me, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. And you can it can be small things, like you said, like just someone sitting in the turret with you, and you'd be like, hey, here you go. Here's like a couple thousand UEC or whatever for doing the mission, or just hanging out with me, or
putting your life on the line,
Yeah, exactly. Or you can run convoy or whatever.
Tour guide.
But I do think that the disabling ships needs to be in as quickly as possible. You need to be able to stop a ship, like in Star Trek. Like when you watch Discovery. I don't want to spoilers alert anyone that's not watched it, but anyone's watched any Star Trek.
Do you think that needs to be as quick as possible before any other game mechanic?
Well, not now because I've seen 3.0 in terms of combat, so probably not now. But if they were still playing with the more like aggressive kind of combat side of things, then yeah, I would say it would be.
Well, it needs to be ready for piracy in a way.
Yeah, for sure.
Just to sum up Madness's comments on the podcast today.
It's a simple mechanic.
Everything tomorrow. He wants everything tomorrow, please.
But I'm just saying, at the end of the day, like that's what I'm very clear. That's the sort of thing. And again, like Chris Roberts would be like, "What the fuck? We don't." That's all I'm saying. These are the things that my mechanic that I like.
Shit's not in.
Miz you might like what you want, which you can say which is the things that you want.
I'm not saying anything because half of the stuff you're talking about is NDA, and I don't know what
Okay.
I'm allowed to say, so I'm not
Okay,
saying
but-
shit
but
about
if
it.
there's-
So I know the answers to half what you're saying, and I'm just sitting there going, yeah.
With your disabling ships, man, you can kind of do it now because that's how I
NDA.
fight.
EMP doesn't work though.
Yeah,
You can
it
disable
does.
wings. You can take no.
Yeah, like you
EMP
can like
doesn't
at
stop
the
you from
moment-
jumping bio. You
So
can still jump
yeah,
if you
it's
EMP.
true. Yeah, true. Like I fire the engines off ships if I can. I fire the wings off. I fire the guns off, the turrets off. But the thing is, even though you've
damage the engine.
got a full propulsion in that, they're still moving. They're still
Yeah.
like that's what needs. Like if they can do that, then stops them from moving, makes them dead in space. Then the whole boarding process would then become viable as well.
Even if it's a bit fake, I don't mind it being a bit fake. You know what I mean? I know it sounds silly, but I'd rather for the game,
doesn't mind
for the
a bit.
gameplay, bit of fake is fine. You know,
Will you be able to make a ship come to a halt
What he
once
says to the
tractor
wife.
beams are in?
tractor beams, yeah.
That's when his wife is in bed.
What's
I don't mind
that?
it being fake, it's fine.
He doesn't mind a bit of fake.
Do I have people to pay with me? Yes, I have to pay people to hang out
Oh,
with me.
God.
They're all fake. Yeah. Okay. Where were we?
He was going through the A to Z of this week. Yeah. That was
Boring,
content of the A to Z.
boring. Okay, the trading console. Here we go.
Oh god.
Hang on.
You happy
Actually,
that
do you know what I
you're-
got?
that
I
you're
got.
here
Do you know what? I
today,
got very
Brian?
excited because they did a bit about the
What's that?
the
Were
creative.
you
thing.
overthinking your sins while you're here again? Yeah. I saw him like, what the fuck did I do? Why did I go through this today? Yeah,
I was
look
like,
on his
I've
face
had
of
weeks off.
clarity.
It's more like I'm just glad to kind of be on here and just listen to this again. It's awesome.
So this was interesting. So we have the shopping commodities kiosk. So again, this is like we're talking about one point. You know, we were talking earlier about this being the basic level of everything and kind of the grounding and stuff. So this is obviously the kiosks. Now we all know how legendary CIG's user interface has been, and the kiosk interface for spawning ships and spawning those things has been. It's been
Edition.
flawless, beautiful, and obviously they're having problems with the new introduction of the kiosk and stuff. I don't know if this is deliberate damage or blurring of the screen or if this is the bug. I can't remember for sure.
They
But I
probably
thought it
don't
was
have the thingies for it.
it was pretty cool, like the way that you're looking at the commodities. We've got metal, empty cargo space. They had I mean, does anyone know if this is legitimate numbers for the freelancer?
NDA.
If this is total cargo space 3,000, or if it's just fake numbers?
NDA.
It's NDA fake shit.
NDA. So I like the
But
bit on the right
agricultural
side.
supply, Vice. What's
like
Vice?
The Vice. I like the bit on the right side where you can basically fill in. It's like when you're transferring money to your mate's PayPal account and you're putting in child support or
Nice.
something like that, or condom money. You can put that in there as well on the
Apply for
side.
the
you
job.
know.
Sure, man.
Condom money.
They talked about me. Did they really, Carlos? Did they really? So no, but look, there's the Miss Freelancer, and I was kind of like, I was genuinely
gonna
curious. Like,
watch
what is
that tonight,
Vice?
Carlos.
Agricultural supply. What do you think that's going to be? Soil, water,
Poop.
plants. Do you think
But
it'll be?
for
Do you think it'll be?
agricultural.
Do you think it'll be different types
I
of
think
plants?
at the
Seed.
first iteration it will just say this place needs agricultural supplies.
Is that what you think?
Because everything comes in a box, doesn't it?
Yeah,
So you
I know. That's actually going to be my
anything.
next point.
So on that thing, it's all boxes. So what it's asked for is what the mission
Fertilizer,
will
yeah,
ask
poop.
for. That's what the mission's going to
So-
ask.
Sure.
Here's my thing with the reality of the game and like the boxes and like cargo hauling. Okay, so I'm going onto a planet and I'm salvaging something. I won't be salvaging anything other than a box.
You go to like a scrap bike, and as you pull it out, you get in the engine, and all of a sudden it just turns into a box.
I'm just saying that's the
a
level
box
of
of
fidelity
nuts and
that we will
bolts.
be experiencing. It will be
Well, no,
literally
it's
there won't
just
be,
first
or will you
iteration.
be carrying an empty box with you that you open the lid and you kind of like start shoving things into the box and be like, okay, here's my happy hands or what magic hands, and I pick up the gun. Oh, I can't close the lid on the box because the gun's sticking out. Okay, and I pick up this thing and I pick up this thing and I put it in, and then hey,
This
then I
was
get
an
on my
annoying
dragonfly
guy
and.
that's the most annoying questions to the teacher all the time. Where the teacher's like, "Fucking
I'm one of those really annoying. Like, I'm just asked the stupid.
You're literally
asking
think-
questions of stuff.
You're literally
that's not
thinking
even
outside the box.
That's what.
I'm just curious. But Miz, like, I'm just curious. But yes, you will just get a box, and your mission will be pick up a box, move this box to this thing. The agricultural supply will be agricultural supply. Is that what you're saying? And that'll be it. And it'll be vice will be vice, and metal will be metal, and it will be very, very, very simple.
I mean, eventually that will hopefully change, and we will see items. But first iteration is just going to be boxes.
A good thing is, for example, the reclaimer. What it could be, and I'm just speculating.
I'm just going to say right now, this guy here on his phone. Honestly, someone slap him because he was just permanently on his phone. I'd have killed him.
Okay. So you're picking up all the things from a ship, and what the reclaimer will poop out is boxes eventually, maybe, and then you don't see the process from it going from a wrecked ship into a box, but you still have the fidelity if you use a bit of imagination. You know what I mean? That is what it could be. It could turn into SCU units of salvage or metal or plastic or fertilizer or poop or whatever you want to call it. It will turn into something eventually, but I don't think you will see the process. I think that will happen in the belly of the beast. You know what I mean?
I know, and I look.
You see what I mean?
I know people kind of go, oh, that just seems like I understand a little bit of that, but I'm just curious. It's just like literally. What do you guys think? And do you think this is like... I've never made a game.
You say it in such a silly way.
I've never made a computer game. None of us... I mean, if you tell me who here has made a computer game... I've never made one. And I'm just curious and fascinated by the whole process. And they talk about fidelity.
Your better question would have been, how detailed do you think the items will get? Will we eventually pick up one bolt at a time or a screwdriver and put it in a box? Or even shovel shit into
then
a
he's
box?
moaning that it's not quick enough.
That's what you're here for, Miz. You're here to turn my question into rational, logical questions. Thank you, buddy. Thanks, man.
I mean, that will
There's
be
a lot of hostility here today. Calm down.
Discussing at the moment, probably, but yeah, how much we will get to break these things down. So if you had like a crate of weapons, it would be interesting to see how much, will we put the weapons in ourselves until they don't fit, or will it be just like a place weapon in a box? That's
because the reason why I say, I mean, you beautifully, eloquently, Miz, that's why I love you, because you just do basically take what my brain is shitting on and make it make complete sense. Is exactly that. It's like at the moment where you go into the back of a Cutlass, for example, you take a Nox or whatever, and they talked about have the landing pads and stuff. It's like an area, and you can kind of, if you don't lock it into the area, it could potentially zim around inside the spaceship and stuff.
It'll blow you up.
Exactly. And so I'm thinking, will they potentially shrink that technology, that idea down into the boxes in theory, so you'll be able to then put things into the box in the same manner. If it doesn't fit in, it will potentially do stupid things. It'll have to fit inside the boxes. I mean, I'm sure weapons and stuff, they'll maybe attach them to the side. You'll have limited hard points. Maybe the Dragonfly, you'll attach it to the side.
You've got like, so like a weapons rack. You've got a weapons rack. You don't just push it in there. You interact with the weapons rack and then select put weapons in.
You'll probably get an animation.
So I presume it would be the same for a box. You'd interact with the box.
You've got storage units as well.
You just put it in.
Yeah.
You won't place it in because what you're talking about is it like Hellion or something where you can pick something up, drop it, and then
they showed us the magic grappling, and also they showed us the new item 2.0 highlights individual things that you can interact with, and they talked about being able to pick up objects and then throw them. They showed us on their ATVs. They've showed us picking up a helmet and then throwing.
Yeah, but to put it in a box. The same as when you had the helmet, he placed the helmet on the side. He didn't throw the helmet on the side. He had the helmet in his hand and he interacted. Is it
only
with
me, or can you all see Madness sit in his ship with a box in front of him?
Just bashing it. Boom. And then having the music of Space Odyssey going on really slowly, like a monkey. Like
you'll see Madness buying the biggest box and then putting pins or paper keys inside it.
Get it. I know you're all really clever people out there, and you're all really smart, and you kind of like, it's fine. It's cool.
Madness, can you do me a favor for next week? Just talk about
sense check. Sounds
This
checking.
is
Go back.
not your. This is not your.
This is not my skill set. This is, we've done the wrong thing, Sol. We've switched. I've done ATV. We've done it the wrong way. I should go back to doing the salt, and you should come back to doing the ATVs.
Go back to Reddit.
We'll go back to Reddit. Go back to the salt mining. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the meat. Unless anyone wants to talk about anything else to do with the burn down. Does anyone want any?
No.
It's fine.
Just know that the highlight
Let's roll it up a bit.
You managed to go longer on two things than they did the whole burn down.
Yeah, he managed to go longer on burn down the one bit that he absolutely slagged off about ATV, and then just made a great big section about it. So well done, congratulations, man. Now, can we roll it on and maybe do ATV in about 2 minutes? Just for my own.
I remember Matt just saying before the podcast, before we started, boys, let's try and fit this in a normal time scale. It's fucking 10 to 12, and he still has.
Wrap it up, man.
I'm sorry. I'm going to wrap this up really quickly. Okay, so this is my favorite bit, which I've done the most amount of work on.
Should we just skip it?
I need to go, guys. So I'll see you all next week.
Okay, so I'm going to bust up some pictures here for you guys. So the legacy armor. So this is the old pirate armor. So on the left hand side,
Everyone knows what this is.
The light armor, the brawler, and then we have the Colossus, the heavy armor. Now we've all been, this has been used for many videos. There's a lot of love there. When they released the new kind of piratey outlaw armor, which they did, and it was great and it looked amazing. It was really cool. And then we got in it, and then we realized that our views were completely shit, and we couldn't see anything. And we were like, oh my God, we need to go back to the legacy armor because the light armor has a way better visibility, which is what at the end of the day matters. So I ended up going back to this armor, and actually, I like it. I think it's cool. I think it's got character.
I don't mind the rings, to be honest.
I really liked it. So when I watched this, it was very, 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 very interesting. So I'm
a big fan of these suits, these leather caps with like 3 holes in it, so I can put like one of these red balls in my mouth with that,
Excuse me?
Dominatrix,
yeah. But do you know what?
I like the way you said that then when you came close to the mic.
What I really liked about this is the way they described on the ATV. They talked about how they were, the helmet, they talked about the modularity and how they needed to bring all this new armor up to date, because at the end of the day, it was all built as one piece, one outfit, and how at the end of the day, now we're going to be, we'll be able to effectively mix and match pieces of armor that we want, and you mix, and they were trying to save things like, you could clearly tell that the important thing that they realized that was very iconic with this piece of armor was the helmet, especially the light helmet. So this was obviously the I'll bring it on stream here. So this is the kind of the new iteration.
Looks awesome.
Of the armor here, which I think is great. Very, very cool. And I'm just going to bring this up here just for reference, because I just want to bring it next to, because I always think it's important to see, that's the Nomad armor. Okay, because the Nomad armor also has a cape kind of cloaky type of thing. It's designed by the same kind of guy, Jay Lee. Just wanted to kind of show next to each other. Do we feel that there is enough of a difference between the two pieces?
Yeah.
Just shut my window, so.
Do they look different enough? Do they feel like they're different people? Do they feel like they're a different clan?
Yeah.
Do they feel like, just throwing it out there? Just throwing it out there. Yeah.
I like the loincloth.
Okay. I like cloth. I like the idea of kind of.
I think they did that with a reason. They spoke about that loincloth a while back.
There's an issue element. You don't necessarily want everything to be massively different. You don't want to. This is my outlaw outfit. So this is when I go to walk into the local. That was
my point. That was what I was going to go to.
We don't want to
Tesco to buy a dip-free pizza.
That's what JD was talking about. He was talking about seam lines. He was talking about the kind of at the end of the day, they want to make the armor pieces kind of like being able to interact and merge with each other and not look stupid as shit.
Everything can work well with one another. Yeah.
And that was what I was trying to get. I was trying to say is they're clearly starting to create their own language, trying to create their own identity within Star Citizen world, which was very exciting to me as a creative person myself. I love to see this kind of this process that they're going through and kind of designing process, which is very, very exciting. And so I kind of was like, I was watching that and I was really enjoying it. And I'm going to bring up some more videos so as we're going through this, kind of keep it kind of sweet. And what I thought was really cool here as well was with the helmet. So they've kind of taken their helmet. And I don't know about you guys, but I got a real Bane vibe off of this helmet, which I really like. And I'm going to...
Yes.
Yes.
Has anybody seen Batman?
Yes. I really did. I got the Bane vibe off of this. So I'm going to bring it. See if I can bring it in. What did I do with the video? What did I do with it? Where is it? There it is. There he is for everyone that's not seen him. And I was just like, yeah, cool. And there was something about the way they put the venting and the kind of that whole kind of thing going on there, and it is that menacing kind of thing. And I just was like, very, very, very cool. Really like the kind of the take on it, and they kept the red eyes as well, which I think is fantastic. So good job, guys at CIG. Very, very excited.
Yeah.
And it had that kind of. It felt. Yeah, I really, yeah.
Someone clip this, man. This is being positive.
I know, it's crazy.
Really liked it. Really liked their light armor. So I didn't have very much negative to say about the light armor. I'm excited to see them, maybe part 2 next week, and to see how they've moved it on, and all that good shit. So yeah, good job is all I'm going to say. Does anyone want to add anything? Feel free.
No, I can't wait to use that armor.
Yeah. Same.
Oh, a mix between that and medium. Yeah.
I can't wait.
And then get that wherever that is, the camera on the heavy or whatever that is supposed to be.
Yeah.
As well.
I cannot wait for mixing. Honestly, being able to mix armor and stuff, it's just like it's going to be awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very, very cool. Very cool. Right. And then we move on to the next piece of armor. So I'm just going to try and bring it up here. So this was
How many pieces have we got?
Colossus. So this is the original. I believe this is the original design for this. This is the original drawings, and I think that Michael, the original designer, is still there. So obviously they went back to him and they got him to redesign this. And when I saw this for the first time, and I saw this kind of concept and everything else that I saw here,
it looks like an American football player.
Well,
yeah, it does.
Kind of like all the padding, extra padding, and
a bit Fallout-ish.
Well, this is the game.
Yeah.
This is the game that I was. This is the game I saw. Killzone. Okay, so now bring it up on screen.
You
so
get
you
to
can
wear
see
this
it.
shit together, man. Sometimes.
So
So
there they are. So that's Killzone 2, and that whole kind of like that for me. When I saw this, and then when Jay Lee and those guys talked, they said that it felt like it was like a post-apocalyptic game, a post-apocalyptic
like
kind of
Fallout.
styling that we Fallout, that we've seen before that could be now. I got the feeling that this was kind of the reference. They realized that maybe it's not unique enough. It's great. It's got character, and there's something kind of cool about the helmet. Very, but honestly, for me, it's just too close. It's always been too close to Killzone for me. Every time I've seen it, never been a super huge fan of the heavy armor. So
it's too bulky for my liking. All the big armors are too bulky for my liking.
That's the point of them. That's why they're heavy.
So this is the new armor. So let me try and close this down a second. Sorry, guys. I'm trying to do this as smoothly as possible. So this is the new armor. So they've been. When I first saw this, I didn't even read. I wasn't even listening because I'm terrible with listening. I was literally just like, that's Japanese samurai. It feels like Darth Vader, like concept-y kind of thing. And I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. I
don't know about Japanese. I know you've got some links that I don't, not so much about that, but I do. Yeah, definitely feel like a bit more Star Warsy vibe, especially like the Old Republic, some of the armor sets.
They said in the ATVs they've gone a more samurai kind of style.
It did. It was very much so. So I'm kind of going to bring up a couple.
I suppose the helmet's like flared out a little bit there.
There's the samurai.
It's more the padding, wasn't it? They were saying because the padding before, like you said, looked like a football.
Yeah, it looked like a footballer been pushed.
So now they're doing padding, what's like sleek and kind of. You can see there's armor there, but it fits more. Yeah,
that's
thing.
original Vader. So this is the Ralph McQuarrin's original Vader drawing kind of concept and stuff. So I'm just kind of throwing it out there just so people kind of see. And he was influenced by the samurai, the shogun, the whole kind of, the head honchos. That was kind of his thing, the samurai-esque. And you can kind of see it on the shoulders. See this the kind of stitching, the lumps and the bumps. Kind of this very, very feels like the layering and all that good shit.
It's a huge improvement in my opinion. I like it a lot. It looks heavy. It feels heavy to look at. Like it looks like it feels like a nice heavy suit of armor, but it still looks like you can move in it compared to the other stuff, which does look kind of awkward.
Yeah. So, I'm going to. All right. I spoke to Jay Lee this morning. Legitimately spoke to Jay Lee this morning. It sounds ridiculous, but I actually genuinely did contact him this morning, and I got to answer some questions. And as I brought this up here, so he can basically they will be doing melee weapons, because I was asking him, will we get samurai swords and swords in the game? And yes, it sounds like they are going to be working on them. So yes.
That's gonna be cool. What?
Yes.
Light swords?
Like, I don't know. He couldn't say any more. But from what I understand, and like he didn't say anything, but it was pretty much clear as if to say, yes, we're working on melee weapons. So we will see. They've already got the knife at the end of the day for the takedown, so it's safe to assume. And they talk about doing combat, like hand-to-hand combat and stuff. I'm very excited about the prospect of melee weapons in the game. So swords and whatever else, that kind of side of the game would be great. So. Very excited.
Yeah, very exciting.
Very, very excited. So that was pretty cool, and I just wanted to kind of show some reference points. So when I show you how I was thinking when I saw the armor and kind of samurai, and just kind of like just share kind of like my mindset and stuff on this stuff.
Madness likes to create mood boards.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah,
so that was the thing, and then they talked about the undersuit.
Just wish he talked about that first.
Thanks, Miz. So we've got the. I tried to sandwich it, Miz. I tried to sandwich the crappy bit in the middle, so no one knows.
Yeah, but we didn't need the crappy bit to be so long.
So we've got the undersuit.
It's the burger game. Is that what it is?
Indeed. So we've got the. So like when I saw this, I was just like, oh my god, that is so boring. Like, could you get any more?
I'm going to be honest with you. If I could
get
have
any
this,
more a boring undersuit.
If I could have that black suit that you saw in the beginning there, together with a airtight helmet with some sort of a air supply, I would be happy.
Yeah.
I don't need all this. I don't need all this jingling and this.
I prefer this undersuit to what we got now.
What? Come on.
I like it. It's different. Something different than that cheesy kind of.
This looks like you ended up in some kind of wrong bar in the 80s somewhere, man.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, I just like it.
Don't like different. This at all. You have this sort of clothing style. I think it's in EVE Online where you have your character when you can walk. With
that is actually in EVE Online.
Hate it.
Exactly like that.
I think it's horrendous.
That's the kind of fucking shit that I want to look like when I'm playing this game. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, next time you come down, I'll take you to the Chinese Quarter. We'll have some fun.
And
there.
if I'm in heavy armor, I want to be rocking something like that. Like a badass.
I like this more. I like that.
But this
is because if he's blind.
This is the gear. This is what I want to be rocking. I want to have a cool little scarf and a badass helmet, and then a really slick like jacket and.
Exactly, like I like
badass,
this.
Man.
Remember that the first iteration that we seen of the dude in what's his name again? I always forget his name. Miles Eckhart.
Mm-hmm.
That's the style that I would like to rock. You know what I mean? A combination of old school and new school. I think that would be really cool. I'm not too fan of all this latex suit kind of idea feel. That's what I get from it. You know what I mean? Too much futuristic for my liking. I like this madness. I like the combo of the two. Having the option to still wear normal clothing or some sort of an undersuit that can resist pressure.
Yeah. But
you can still rock other things over it to make it look a bit more like you're that old school guy that still lives in the years 2010. But you know what I mean? That kind of vibe. I like that.
Well, this is the thing: is they're talking about personal shields, right? Sorry, Miss, go for it. You go.
I just say that is the whole point of the undersuit, though, is that it's just going to go underneath, and you're going to put cool shit on top. It doesn't have to look the best.
Although I like this, I like that.
But in my opinion, I like the fact that Jay Lee said that it was all looking a bit boring and a bit the same, and they were like, well, we need to kind of like jazz it up a bit for the outlaw armor, and kind of they had hang on, do I have it here? So
I like that one with the patches. It looks like a motorcycle sort of.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that an?
I feel
Is
like
that an undersuit as well? Is
the
it?
Wraith. Just get a motorcycle black helmet, and you're the Wraith from the 1980s movie. You know, it's just like yes, that's what we want. But you know, this is the patched one. So this is more about undersuit. So we just talk about undersuit. So this is like we've got the RSR. So this is what I'm saying. Like they've got this kind of looks like you're wearing a 1990s shell suit. If you made that pink and purple and you had a cigarette near you, you're dead, basically. Look at this. Look, this is what's happened to this suit here. Someone has basically stood next to the RSI shell suit with a cigarette and caught them on fire. You know, it's just look at this one. It's even worse. This person clearly couldn't get.
Or someone just chain smokes and ends up dropping ash on them.
Honestly, it's like a nappy bag. It's awful. My son's, honestly, it just looks like a nappy. Like just get little elastic on the side, and it's like boop. There you go.
Yeah.
Take a shit in that boop, and then it's not.
It's when those nappies break, isn't it?
Yes. Oh my days. Snap! You pull the
shit goes everywhere.
I'm being funny, but if you really need to shit when you're in space, you need a nappy bag. Like that.
Probably do. You probably do.
But by the time you spent half an hour taking your heavy armor off, you ain't got time to get the undersuit off as well. You need to just get on that toilet. So
you're like, hang on a minute. Oh, get the layers, get the gun off, take the helmet off, take the armor. Oh my god, I'm desperate. Oh, it's all gone down my leg. Good job I was wearing those elasticated undersuits. Shell suits. It's kept it all in.
All in one.
People ain't going to talk to you just because of your smell, yeah.
Exactly. Well, they talk about having a shower, right? So, no, I mean, Jesus. There we go. But no, I do like the fact that they're building undersuits. I do like the fact that they're going to have more variety on the undersuits. I just want to know when we're going to get more of this customization. Are we going to get it in 3.0? Are we going to get the customization of our characters? Be able to customize with armor and gear and looking and be able to mix and match our gear modular? Do we know yet if it's going to
not anytime fucking soon, probably.
Who knows?
Not the most important.
Miz is like that. No.
You don't just like it could just be a Delta thing, you know. You just no one knows.
These questions
like,
no one knows.
So let's move on from the subject.
Yeah, let's just stop.
Subject.
But genuinely, that's the kind of so and then what I was going to ask, the final thing I was going to say in terms of like about alien spacesuits, and do you think we're going to see more? That's what I'm really excited about seeing is the adapted alien suits to humans, alien undersuits to humans, to see that type of thing, you know, because we've obviously they're building a lot of this for the humans and stuff, but we've seen adapted Vandal ships for humans, we've seen adapted Xi'an ships, whatever, for humans. Will we start to see adapted alien gear for humans?
I think we're more likely to see the kind of MISC version of it, so they work with the alien technology and turn it into a more humanized form. So I don't think we'll get a Vandal suit that's then just been bash kitted to fit a human.
It will have Vandal tag on it, but it will not be a Vandal.
Yeah, that's what I mean. You might get bits that are stripped out, but you won't. I don't think because there's a size difference and stuff. I don't think that's ever going to work. But what you might get is that either parts of it being pulled apart and put onto a human suit. The same with material, like, you know, maybe certain materials or something that we don't have, but alien technology has, would be interwoven into the suits and things like that. But I mean, I'd love to be able to see custom-made alien shit knocked down for humans. But I think the way the direction of the game's going, we're not going to get that, because it's just similar to what we said about ships having their ships and taking them.
Yeah, I mean, not right now, maybe, but at some point we will. No, you just think
it's possible. I mean, like they managed, like you said, they managed to convert, say, a Vandal ship.
Yeah,
but I don't really
selling it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, if you want to, or maybe it could be just arm pieces or trinkets, or, you know, maybe it could be bits of technology, component parts, shield upgrades.
That's what I mean. You might see it more as components. You know, like because everything's modular, you might see a module part that could be a part of what they own.
And they're going to potentially, they're talking about having smaller gear. So, for example, you might be wearing, like, we're talking about the spacesuits and stuff to make you look cool, but so that you can be slick and look fucking badass, but you still need the protection. So they're talking about personal shields, from what I understand, and the ability to protect yourself using technology rather than actual.
Just about, and the shield just comes up.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? That kind of deflector shields and stuff like that, so that you can look like you could basically. The way I look at it is like I could look like John Wick in a beautiful 2-piece suit, button down, Giorgio Armani, assassin looking, smoking, and then someone shoots me, and rather than like in the movie, John Wick, he's obviously got a beautifully kind of like line to stop him from taking a bullet. But in this instance, it would be your spacesuit. You could have maybe a shield that takes the damage, a force field or whatever, takes a bit of the damage rather than and that way you don't lose out on protection and you still get the style. Because at the end of the day, it's all about looking good, right? Or is it about?
It is. I agree with you with that, but I don't think that's what's going to happen. But yeah.
Damn it! I hope it does.
I think we'll just have to change to a more casual clothes.
Listen, man, you can paint the piece of shit purple; it will still sting, man.
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just thinking. Like I see like really cool futuristic. Again, I'm looking again. They look at movies for reference. Okay, sci-fi is obviously very influenced by it. So people talk about we've seen movies with portable shields. We've seen movies with with these kind of technology and this kind of thing, and I just like, well, it would be kind of
would be cool.
Sci-fi influences imagination and creation, and then and then we create that happening. Look at the mobile phone, Star Trek, and then we have the mobile phone. There's many cases of that.
Well, that's what I think is a little bit of a shame in terms of this. I like the more fantasy made-up style stuff, but I think this is going down the more serious route for most of the stuff. So I think we'll get less of it, which is why I think it's a shame, because I would like to see some of the stuff that we see in a lot of the films, but I just, the direction. They may change in the future. They may well implement things with they can build like a sort of background story for it. Yeah.
Like I said, I'd like to see more of the, like at the end of the day, we know that the Xeon, for example, use a lot more magnets and things that are hovering for, like, for example, the Nox. So who's to say they couldn't have armor pieces that kind of maybe hover on your body, or retractable helmets that come and disappear, like in like Stargate, for example, and that kind of like appear and then disappear. Look visually amazing, striking, very unique for that alien race. Gives you a point of difference, so and then you can mix those pieces of armor. Maybe with anyway, I could go on for ages. This is all theory crafting now, but we'll move on. Anyway, I get excited and I go on forever. Does anyone move on to questions and then we'll kind of call it?
Yeah, move on to questions. I don't think we got many, so fine.
Right. If anyone wants to ask us any questions, by the way, exclamation questions in chat here, or potentially you can use the questions if it's not closed. Add it to the madness wish box. Indeed. Feel free to ask us any questions, and I'll let the intelligent people answer them.
Not too many questions. I'm tired.
What is the time, by the way?
Late.
Cool.
10 quarter past.
Okay. We'll wrap it up.
Wrap it up, boys.
Do you guys want to run? You guys go ahead. I'm done. You guys go ask the questions.
Miz is the most smart one with that question form. I always manage to delete everything on it.
You choose to delete it.
First question, serious space question. What's your pronoun?
What?
Serious space question asks, what's your pronoun?
What is a pronoun? Sorry for my bad English.
You're the super
Nickname, or what is it?
No, it's just someone. It's just rolling freaking question.
What is
Okay,
me?
we'll
What
on.
is me? Basically.
Yeah, what, me, is it you? So it's just a...
It's a clever
of a
question
noun,
designed
but-
to make you go.
Right, so Chokma
I am.
says, do you think this project is managed well? We've
Very
got all
well.
the lovely trolls.
What Star Citizen managed well?
Yeah.
I think it's as managed as well as anyone can do, considering they're probably one of the first people to ever have to deal with $160 million Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I think, let's be honest, if we were all given $160 million to build a Kickstarter game that no one's ever had that kind of money before in their life and their expectations, I think they're doing a pretty damn good job, if you're asking me. I mean, they're not perfect. They're not perfect, but my God, can you imagine the pressure? And that kind of like that, the expectation. There are games that are in development for 10 years, 7, 8 years that never fucking even see the light of day. These guys have got our money and they're having to guarantee, the pressure these guys are under. I'm sorry. I mean, I know I'm very salty at times, but at the end of the day, yes, they are doing the utmost. There are 5 years into this development pan, and I think they are on track and they're doing a damn good job. So that's my opinion.
And it's nice to be able to play the game as well in development.
I totally agree with
So they're doing good.
They're not perfect, but who is? And they make mistakes just like the rest of us. And I'm well and truly here to smash them with the iron and whip them into shape if it needs to be whipped. And if I think that shit is
needs to be whipped.
shit needs to be whipped. Sorry,
If shit needs to be whipped,
if shit needs to be whipped, I'll be there, boys. But no, seriously, we're all here. We're all giving them. They get hiding if they need to, but they're doing a damn good job.
That's why Madness is not allowed to sit on the first row.
Anyone else? Go for it.
Because he'll probably bite.
You've said it well on my part.
Oh.
Yep, I totally agree. I think they've done really well. Not without its bumps and things, but what do you expect, And what they've already shown us is more than probably a lot of other games that tried a similar thing. If it's a space game or any other game or Kickstarter. They've come a long way from what it was when it started and where it is now, and that deserves some credit.
Yeah. And like I said, we'll beat them up when they need to be beaten up, and we'll pray.
If it wasn't for Star Citizen, you guys would not be here listening to 3 hours of the bullshit that we spit out, basically.
Next question. Do we have any other great questions?
Next question is from the same person.
Cool. I love questions.
He says, SC is already the highest funding game of all time. Other games including advertising in their cost. Why do you think they need even more money? And quite an easy one, isn't it? It's because it's constantly being developed and you've got to pay staff to constantly develop stuff. Just because it's raised the most as a crowdfunding game, it's not using the most funds compared to other games that are being made. And
I just want to ask this question: how much is 1 + 1?
2.
Question answered. I think. Wait, if you say so, I'm slightly lost.
It's also like as it's community. I was gonna say. Sorry.
I'm slightly lost with that answer, Paul. But that's probably quite simple. But I mean, go for it, Bar. You go.
I was gonna say like also they need more money because it is a community-driven game, and we always inspire them to make more, create more. So they need that money to make. We all vision, so yeah.
For my answer for the needing more money is like, well, like everybody in the money makes the world tick. But the way I look at it is like when the game was first announced, they knew roughly how much money they kind of needed to get it going, and then we plowed them with even more money, and then they expanded, and the goals changed, and they added more things to the goal list, and then we added more money, and they added more things to the goal list, and then they added more money, and they added more things to the goal list.
But they stopped doing that.
They eventually stopped. Because they realized that, they need to kind of hit some of these goals. But they need money. Everyone needs, the money makes the world. You have to pay for, like you said, Biz, I completely agree. You've got to pay for staff. And also, they probably need to have money in the bank for future developments.
But who's to say the money they raised is enough to make a game?
Yeah,
just because it's been the biggest favorite, it's not saying that's enough. Yeah. If this is going on for more and more development, it needs more.
Yeah, I agree. So the reality is if I see, every single creative director at CIG swanning off on holiday in Lamborghinis and Ferraris, and Gucci bags and all the rest of it, and we're still sat here in 5 years' time with 3.0, I'll be pissed. I want my money back. I'll say this is a shambles. If we were 10 years in the development and this is where we were, I would be calling this as an absolute sham of a game, and disgusted with the way that they've financially managed this game and pissed. If I'm watching, but I don't see that. I see them taking the money. I see them employing people. I see them making proactive steps to make this game. This is not a scam. Anyone, if this was a scam, they're the worst scam artists in the world.
Yeah.
You don't build.
If it was a scam, they would have just taken it from the initial start.
Yeah, you don't build 4 studios, and it's Pride now, and they're going to make this game. So, yeah.
And
I don't like the $850 ships, dude. I'm going to tell you that right now. I don't like them. I don't like the timing of them. But at the end of the day, they have a schedule that they stick to. They obviously know exactly when they want to drop these ships, and whether they come at the right time or the wrong time, that's beyond. They just stick with dropping these ships when they feel the schedule is.
They had a competition last week, and someone won, and he said he wanted more donuts, so they're bringing out this ship. Paid lunches.
They mix it. We've had $35 ships, $40 ships, quite a few, and now we've got an 800.
Now we got a bigger one.
You're looking at it as you feel like you have to buy each ship that comes out. Fucking hell, it's just a ship. Another ship.
I'm not going
Some
to.
people feel that way.
I'm just saying people look at it and go, if you're an outsider and never bought a game, and you're going to go, oh, look, this is 5 years in development, and look, oh my God, the first thing I see is here's an $850 ship that they're trying to sell.
If you're an outsider and you judge it like that, then you fucking might as well piss off and go and play the
All right.
You
I
can't
like this
be
Miz. Who is
looking
this
for
Miz? You
something
need
for
to go
5
on
minutes,
Mac's
then what's the
channel more
fucking point?
often and come on to the podcast.
You've
You've been sat in front of a screen for too long talking about it. It's good stuff. All right. Okay.
Anyway,
any more questions?
Right, so the last fucking put a can on that one. Last question. Jolly says, Madness, when will the main event be with Jester, and can you buy tickets?
Yeah, we'll be. I'm at the moment. I'm sorting out the purse. So my manager's talking to Jester's manager. Manager basically, like I said, Jester got roasted by me twice on stream. He clearly wants a rematch. He's trying to rig it. He wants to kind of like use 10, 12 pound gloves or something. Stick me in Arena Commander with some ship, Aurora LN or something. So, we're gonna arrange a rematch at some point. He better not lose, because if he loses, that's suck it times 3. So good luck to him. That's what I'm saying. It will happen, and if anyone wants to, we'll announce it and we'll put it up there, and we'll do a little. We'll make a little show about it. So it'll come soon enough. But I still need at least a couple more weeks of telling him to suck it first, and then we'll arrange a rematch.
Or sock it, as it looked like in your
Suck
first
it.
movie
Suck it.
you were going to make.
Oh, was it? Oh, well, it's probably because I'm usually tipsy. Right.
We will filter content for all the viewers next time, so we don't have these silly videos by Madness anymore. So don't worry about that. That's going to be go into the idea pot.
Yeah. So I'm just going to start off the roundup period. So I'm just going to say thank you everybody that's followed, everyone that's streamed, everyone that's subscribed, everyone that's hosted, all the rest of it. Thank you all for coming and hanging out. I really appreciate it. I do apologize if I've offended anyone. Tough shit. You stuck here and watched it. But I love you all for coming and doing that. I will be streaming as always. Should be streaming tomorrow and the rest of the week, and come and hang out. And if you haven't hit the follow button, hit the follow button. Come and hang out. That's me. Miz?
I'm going to this thing called CitizenCon. That's pretty much what I'll be doing. So yeah, I may be streaming tomorrow. I'm not sure, but it depends on how prepared I get for actually when I go away. So I've got a few things to organise, but otherwise, yeah, I'll probably. I don't think I can get a Twitch app on my phone.
Have you found Des Marius again?
Des is back now, yeah. So he wants me to do Paint and Prattle tomorrow.
Is that what you're saying?
Possibly, if I get time. Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to those. It's always good, man.
Yeah, if I get time, I will. I don't know if I can stream from my crappy Amazon phone, so probably not. But I'll be helping Mac with doing a lot of his streams and getting this money raised for charity and all that crap. And we'll just be streaming from Bar Citizen. It'll be on one of our phones and all that lot, really. So yeah, CitizenCon is what it's all about this week.
So
what
much
day are we
hype.
on?
I'm so
What fucking
excited.
day are we on?
So
I am really excited.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited because I get to know. I know people now who are actually going. That's exciting for me because I'm like, I get to, even in just a small part.
I know people now that are not going.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, some people's anniversaries fall on the same day.
That's why you don't get married and stuff. Lesson learned.
All right. Bio?
Yeah, I'll be going to this thing called CitizenCon.
It's just horrible. I'm the only one that's not going.
Yeah, I'm going to be literally shitting. I am, like I said earlier.
You know why Bio's going to Germany.
Shh, let Bio talk. Go on.
It's going to be my first time flying and first time abroad, so...
Whoa! Holy shit! How old are you?
29.
And you've
10.
never flown
Oh,
anywhere.
sorry.
No.
All right, take a sick bag with you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry. You're only going to be 40,000 feet above the ground.
Fuck.
It's not the flying that's the problem, it's the falling.
Don't worry. The reality is if anything bad happens to you, it will happen within a few seconds. Everything will be slowed down really slow, so you'll probably see a few people in front of you burning to death as it explodes.
I'm at the very front.
You'll be actually. Do you know what? You're actually at the right place.
You'll be
because at the
first.
front
I'll
of the
just
plane,
jump out the door. I'll be gone.
you will be the first person to go.
Yeah.
Honestly, actually, you're in the right place.
They'll probably look at me, look at everyone else, and use me to block
You'll be fine.
my fat ass.
The front of the plane is actually really good for turbulence because if you get any turbulence, usually the people at the back, the plebs who are the cheap ones at the back, they usually get hit with it. So you always be good to be at the front of the plane. That's why
I'm at the very
business
front.
class and
I'm
stuff.
I pay
He's the
extra.
pilot. He's the pilot. That's what he meant by he's never flown
piloting.
before. He's fucking pilot.
Yeah, I'm with the
Dogfighting.
pilots.
Dogfighting. That's not how you do it. Get his dual sticks. Bio comes on with his dual sticks.
Okay, so the captain is right. I got this, mate. You go sit into this class. I got this.
I got this. Bio brings out his microphone. Okay, so on the left is Heathrow. We're taking up tour guides. Welcome to the Bio tour guides.
Yeah, like Carrot's saying, yeah, in PUBG I always land short. If I had to jump out, I would never make my destination.
Mate,
yeah, I plan to stream. I do plan to stream tomorrow as well. Stream some Star Citizen, might stream some PUBG. That's pretty much I'm streaming at the moment. I'm not too sure on time yet, but I always tweet out when I know. But yeah,
oh mate, you're gonna have a
people
great time.
start, yeah,
Have a great time.
and you'll all start seeing more of me again. So it's good to be
All
back.
you got to remember is that right now you don't have to worry too much about
So
bad weather. We only have 11 storms incoming into the UK, so
It's true.
you will be fine.
They had a tornado hit them like 2-3 weeks back, didn't they, in Germany?
You'll be fine. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Honestly,
so-
dude, I've landed in some.
Listen,
of the
there are no
worst
tornadoes in
No
fucking-
plane has ever been taken down by turbulence, so don't ever worry about it.
Except for-
You'll be fine.
Planes get taken down by other things nowadays, but let's not
Such a
discuss
good-
that.
I should be on one of those suicide helplines. Do it.
If we
Here
jump
we go.
now, it'll save everybody the bother.
Don't joke around with those things, guys. Let's not go there. You know?
Yeah.
Let's draw the line there.
Yeah, stream my first takeoff when I won't be able to because you have to
So
you have to turn your phone off. Well, you have to go in airplane mode, don't you?
Yeah.
You go, is that what I mean by airplane mode?
I'm trying to think of good tips for you, but it's not you're not going to deal with because I fly all the time.
I got
It'll be
one
fine.
good
It's
tip
only
for
an
you,
hour and a
man.
half.
Bio.
Good tips.
Wear a fucking condom. That's the only thing I can tell you. Just use that gummy. They call it a gummy in Germany. So if you need to buy them, you go to the shop and you say, ich brauche Gummi. If you say that, you should be fine. You know what I
He comes
mean?
back with a bag of gummy bears.
No, Sol told me these would protect me.
Pop one in your mouth, love. We'll be sorted.
Oh Jesus Christ! Oh,
Doesn't matter what flavor, man. It's,
Sorry. This is, by the way, this is why we'll never be monetized on YouTube. Oh my god!
Okay,
honestly,
so
love it. It's
Sol,
good to have you back.
come on,
man.
you can tell us what you're doing as well. Because
I'll be streaming some Gold Rush the game tomorrow. We'll be giving away
Gold Rush the game.
probably 1 or 2 game codes as well for Gold Rush the game. So definitely come and check out if you're interested and you want to know what the game is about. And
How do you get these games, Sol? I'm just curious.
he buys them.
better talker than you, probably.
I probably be able to get the games madness.
I'm curious. Yeah, exactly. I'm curious, like Gold
No,
Rush. Though.
just
What's the appeal?
good,
What's the appeal of Gold Rush?
Well, if you're a fan of
Gold?
simulation games, then this is definitely a good game for you. So definitely come and check that out, man.
Is it the farm simulator, guys?
Yeah, it's similar kind of platform-ish, but then with gold gathering.
So do you pan the gold?
You pan the gold, yeah. And you can move on from tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. So tier 1 is obviously panning the gold, they'll do it all manually.
Yeah.
Then you have tier 2, a bit bigger machinery. Tier 3 is like with the with the diggers and stuff. You know what I mean?
And do you have to go and find like a cave or a hill or something?
No, you get a claim. So what I advise you is to go to watch Gold Rush if you're.
What I advise you to do is watch Soul stream.
Yeah, when are you streaming? When are you streaming?
About
tomorrow, 7 o'clock. No, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because the evening stream will be Destiny, as I'm playing that with you, I guess.
You are playing it with me.
So tomorrow in the evening, so in the afternoon, 2 o'clock, I will be streaming Gold Rush the game. I will be picking up my schedule from tomorrow forward as well. So normally in the afternoon, we're going to get creative shit. Instead of that, I'm doing Gold Rush tomorrow. And then tomorrow evening, from I think the upcoming week at least, it's definitely going to be Destiny. I will be flying to the Netherlands on Thursday as well to go to some sort of event in Germany, Frankfurt.
Some event, some small event.
Weird event. I'm seeing the family, so I'm looking forward to those things. Seeing all my mates and for me, it's not only CitizenCon, it's also the first time back in the Netherlands since 2.5 years almost. So. It's good to see the family again. I have flown before, and I've been out of the country though.
So you don't need a sick bag. So that's good.
I need a sick bag.
You'll be fine.
I'm afraid.
You'll need a
flying.
sick bag when you see my face.
I'm literally afraid of flying. So
Are you really?
I need a sick bag. Yeah, I'm not good in the plane.
It's noisy.
I don't know if I am or not yet.
Shaky.
Madness, can you do an addicted special on Saturday?
Yeah.
You in the middle.
Me on my own.
Yeah.
All by myself.
It's all right.
Don't wanna be
5-hour show.
Yeah. If you want salt for the match,
talking about the
go to the
gladiator.
addicted special.
What I'll do is I'll have like board gamers video on one side. I'll have all the other videos going off in the background just to kind of keep the show running smoothly. I'll bring in at least 100 people.
You might.
Who are we going to
Who knows?
Give it a try.
No.
Okay, I think we'll wrap that up.
Yeah, we'll wrap it up, guys. Okay, so who should we?
Well, go on, Amanda, since you're not going to CitizenCon, you could, I suppose, tell us what you're doing.
I've already said it. I said at the beginning. I'm going to be streaming. I'll be doing Destiny.
You're not even.
I'll be killing. Like Miz, this is a whole new Miz. Like I've never known this Miz here.
Okay.
It's like he's not going. Fuck him.
This is like the evil twin Miz. Like we never had this Miz before on this show. This is like I'm experiencing a whole new Miz right now. Mac has clearly drained Miz of the normal Miz, and now we have
my patience.
No patience. Completely. I'm waiting for a bow and arrow to come out in a minute and like threatening us. It's amazing. I love this Miz. This is the new. I like this Miz. I want this back every time we do a podcast.
I don't.
I love this. Okay. So for anyone that's going to CitizenCon, go check out all these guys here. Go and say hi to them. I think you can't miss them. Bram is huge, so you can't miss Bram at all. And the other two guys. I mean, I'm the
only baby face there.
He's the baby face, and Miz will be, Miz is awesome, so Miz will be wandering around.
I'll probably be the only one with the addicted T-shirt on, so you know.
Nah, you'll have your addicted.
If you walk into someone that tries to recruit you for an org,
yeah, he's gonna have a megaphone walking around.
Yeah. I love the org I'm in. I love the org that I run.
You want to know how to ask people in German to join your org?
No, it's okay, mate. You're probably going to teach me
something about gummy bears again, right?
Ask your girlfriend.
God. Anyway, so thank you. I'm just going to say a big thank you to all you guys for coming and watching us tonight. You guys sacrificing your time to watch us crazy fools. So thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Thank you for the questions. If you've enjoyed the show, it's your first time here. Thank you for hanging out with us. If it's not your first time here, thank you for hanging out with us. And I really look forward. Have a great week. Enjoy it. Come say hi to all of us. Give us a follow. And we will be. I'll be around, so we'll all be around. So
can you host
we'll see you next week, and we'll see you at CitizenCon. Some of us that are going.
So you at CitizenCon? Anybody in chat going? Come and say hi.
All right. So who should we host?
Say hi.
Red Lear.
The fuck alone.
It's no Red Lear. Oh yeah, Red Lear.
Red Lear.
All right, I'll host Red
What
Lear.
about Moonshiners? We haven't done Moon in a long time.
Well, Red Lear was a guest last time.
He's starting soon. He's not started though.
Well, we did Red Lear 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's not started.
Yeah.
Let's do.
Then we did drones last week.
We did drones, did we?
Yeah, so I think Moon is a good one to do again, or Croc.
Who's Croc?
Christian.
Where's Crucian? No, he's top. He doesn't need us. He's fine. We'll give it
Then
to
give
Moon.
it to Moon.
Give
Yeah.
it to Moon. We'll give it to Moon, guys. All right, then we'll give it to. These guys are always streaming after us, so we can switch it between them every time. So, thank you guys. Peace out, guys.
Bye.
See you in the verse. See you in some of us later. Whoop.
You just exited.
I'm
host mode.
unnoticed in it because they play Warframe. So we're going to go
What? They're
host.
playing
Red Bull.
Warframe.
They're playing Warframe.
You must be
Playing,
looking at this game.
oh no, she's playing Warframe now. She was playing Star Citizen.
Where's it? Little bit of manners. Come play with it. Oh.
Thanks for the host. No, you now got rid of the host.
Yeah, tough shit. Sorry. They were playing Warframe. Can't host on a Warframe.
Yeah, true.
No care.
Give
Are
the
we
Croc.
off? That's the main thing.